Hello, how's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a great day today.
Hello. Bye.
Hi Arsham, Biscuits, Adrian, Arkham Productions, Raccoon, Golden, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a great day today. I'm doing good, how are you guys doing? Hi everyone. Anyone who needs help, just send me an invite and I'll help you out. You send me an invite? Oh you did, okay. Hey everyone. Hey guys.
Airspace access approved. Proceed to hangar.
Okay. Where did the idea to dress up as characters come from? Well, the idea came from about 5 years ago. What happened was I wanted to transition my channel away from just GTA Online content to like other games. So like I wanted to play other games and to do other content. And even though I did want to play like other games, I didn't know exactly what I could do to make my channel different. Because there was a lot of people that were like, always doing playthroughs. And yes, the next stream will be starting a lot earlier next week. But I wanted to make my channel different than like other people, like when they did playthroughs, and I was thinking, what can I do? And then I was thinking, oh, what if I try to dress up as the characters? And it was a very positive success. People liked it a lot, and we just stuck with it. And we've been doing it for 5 years. Today's my mom's birthday. Yesterday was mine. Oh, happy birthday to your mom, and happy birthday also to you, Nikki. Happy birthday, dude. Everyone wish Nikki there a happy birthday. Okay, Brandon, wait until we get one more person before you sell. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put it out later this month, Ninjutsu, Master. Oh, can someone join? We just need one more person to help Brandon. Do you think GTA 6 will be delayed until October 2026? Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. GTA 6 only has one more possibility of being delayed. Only one more. I'm telling you, they are not going to delay it past 2026. It is coming out 2026 100%. So, it's either going to come out in May, and if it doesn't come out in May, it's going to be pushed back to fall. That's the only other date. They're not gonna want to roll it out early in 2026. Nobody's gonna want to roll it out in like January or like February. They're not gonna want to release a game like that in that date. So it's either gonna be in the fall or in the summer. There's really not gonna be it's not gonna be pushed back anymore. And wait, what, Venge? I'll start earlier next week. Okay, here we go. Pro, if you had to pledge your allegiance and live under a Star Wars faction, which would it be? Oh, if I had to choose which government I would like to live under in the Star Wars universe, that's actually pretty easy. I'd like to live under the CIS, the Separatists in the Star Wars world. I'd probably like to live in their planets. I know the Separatists have their issues, but I personally think the Republic is way worse than the Separatists. So if I had to choose, I'd rather live under the Separatists than live under the Republic. I definitely wouldn't want to live under the Empire. Am I playing Yakuza's stream this week? Um, uh, yes. This week, it's going to be on a Tuesday. We're going to do Yakuza stream. What about the New Republic? Well, when you say the New Republic, are you talking about like the new movies? Yeah. Honestly, the Republic cannot work as a government because there are just so many planets that don't want to be part of the Republic, and the the problem with the Republic is that the Republic was controlled by the human planets and the really rich planets. So the really rich and human planets were always the planets that had the most say in the Republic. Like, and that's why the Separatists, for example, most of their planets were like alien planets, is because the alien planets were oftentimes pushed aside and were dominated by human planets. And so the Separatists, the Separatists were asking the Republic for like fair representation for a long time, and the Republic wouldn't listen to them. And there was so much corruption in the Republic, and the Separatists just rebelled. The early Star Wars movies portrayed the Separatists as, like, being evil, but I'm really happy with what they did with the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, like, the show showed the Separatists are not evil, so I think that was, like, a more better depiction of them. But, yeah, I think the Separatists were more the good guys than the Republic in the Clone Wars. Speaking of GTA 6, the realistic mechanics are really cool. Beer swishing around in bottles, wet and sweaty skin, sand falling beneath beachgoers' feet, and even the building interiors. And I'm wondering how many frames that game is going to run at. That game better run at 60 frames. That's what I'll say about it. Thank you, Uncle J27 for the super chat. But yeah, they better run that game at 60 frames when it comes out. Do 3 Vincent missions to get the police outfit. Yeah, I could do that after this. If GTA 6 gets delayed to October 2026, will other games get delayed, like what happened with Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018? No. When GTA 6 gets delayed, a lot of developers are happy. Like, for example, the Ghost of Yotei developers, I know they were, like, really happy when GTA 6 got delayed, because that would have been like a nightmare to compete with GTA. It would have been terrible. So no, I don't think other games are gonna get delayed. Are ballistic missiles nukes if they have a nuclear payload? Yes. I did hear about that. Didn't they fire that director or art director, whoever it was that was making fun of the death? Didn't they fire them? Okay, here we go. Let's make the next drop. Pro, I got 2 questions for you. Thoughts on WrestleMania 43 taking place in Saudi Arabia, and also, do you think some WWE wrestlers are on steroids? Oh yeah, 100% some wrestlers have taken steroids in the past. I don't know if they're doing it now, but I know there was controversies where all these athletes were taking steroids, so there's no question in my mind that there was definitely WWE wrestlers that were taking steroids. Definitely. About it being in Saudi Arabia, that I didn't know. But I wonder what that's gonna be like. Thank you for the super chat, David. Can I play the Souls games? I've actually been requested by a bunch of people to play those games. One day I'll play them. I have a whole list of games I still gotta get to this year, but one day I'll get through them. I know people are probably gonna want to watch me rage when I play through the Soul games. Wait, what happened? Right away, what? They should have the sickle melee weapon in GTA 6. Well, I want to see a chainsaw and a flamethrower in GTA 6. Do I know if people from Britain were treated poorly in America after the Revolutionary War was over? It depends. It depends on it depends on whether they were loyalists or whether they identified as Americans, because you also have to remember a lot of Americans in that time period were actually from Britain too. So there was Americans that were that identified as American first, you know, not British, and they had British accents. No, raid orbed toxic. Wait, what? What's going on? Why are people orbiting each other? But if you were a loyalist, meaning that you were in favor of the monarchy, you were treated like crap after the war. But I will say, to be fair, if the loyalists had won, they would have treated any revolutionaries like absolute garbage. But a lot of loyalist property was, like, for example, confiscated. But what happened was there was actually a lot of British soldiers that actually defected to the United States, and this was like in the early 1800s. So in the early 1800s, what happened was a lot of British soldiers and sailors had actually defected to America during the Napoleonic Wars because they didn't want to fight against France. And so, like, a lot of British sailors had come to America and had defected to America. But what happened was a lot of British ships had actually come into, like, American cities and were actually looking for, like, these deserters. And the U.S. government got really pissed off at them for doing that, but didn't really do much to stop them. Hey, Ricardo. Oh. Okay, here we go. Thank you for the super chat, Ricardo. No, I don't. Thank you for the super chat, Ricardo. How do I get so much money? Been grinding for a long time. Thanks for the reply. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Greens. You too have a wonderful day. And thank you, Jake, for the super chat. The UK government is planning to introduce digital ID. What's your thoughts about it? Because I feel like freedom is over in the UK. That's stupid. That they... You know, the government... The government trying to find more information about their private citizens, it just scares me more and more. No, Ruby versus Maka? What's that? Why did I hate the NCR in Fallout, you mean? The reason I don't like the NCR is because they're imperialist, they're bureaucratic, they overtax their citizens, and they don't even protect their people. The NCR is just a joke, honestly, in the Fallout series. The NCR deserves to collapse. Like, it is just such a joke. I agree to most of Mr. House about the NCR. It's doomed to fall apart. In Chicago, a woman accused of Starbucks writing "loser" on her cup on Twitter. The store did end up closing temporarily. Apparently, she wrote in "loser." Well, people do that a lot of times. There have been cases where people have, like, you know, put stuff into their food, like a nail or other stuff, and then they try to accuse, like, the restaurant of doing it, just to get an easy lawsuit. There have been even people who have spilled water on the floor and then purposely tripped on it just to do a lawsuit. Thoughts on tornadoes? Well, before I moved to the Midwest, I've never seen a tornado, and when I moved here, I did see them. I saw them around, like, May, June. I don't think I've seen them, like, in other months. But when I saw them, it's a massive distance away. It was never to the point where it was, like, an unsafe distance. But I will say, though, the dust storms also happen a lot. The dust storms, I don't know if you really count that as a tornado, the dust storms, but I've seen more dust storms than I have tornadoes. And when those dust storms happen, oh my god, that is that's the worst. I've never seen anything like a dust storm. I've never seen that. And when I experienced that the first time, that really sucked. I remember the one time when I experienced a dust storm. It was 4 p.m. and it was sunny outside. I was actually driving from one of my rentals. And I'm trying to remember what I was doing there that day. I think I had the sprinklers open. I think that's what was going on, because I remember it was like it was earlier, so I think it was like around May or April when it happened. But as I was driving back, what happened was the sky just turned black, like just black. Like I've never seen something like that before. Like it was like sunny, and then like everything went dark within just like a few seconds. Like everything just went dark. And the crazy thing is, the dust storm actually knocked out all the power in the area, even the power to the traffic lights. And so what happened was, when I came up to an intersection, the traffic lights were actually not even working at the intersection. And so what happened was, people were like driving like 5 miles per hour through the intersection. They were all just driving slowly past each other just to get through the area. And then I drove back to my apartment. My apartment has an underground garage, and I went into the underground garage and I just parked my car. But there's literally like 100 people there. There's like 100 people in the garage. I have my own parking spot, so they couldn't take that. But there was like, everybody in the apartment complex was like in the underground parking garage. But what really sucked? What really sucked is I must have breathed in something that day. Like I breathed something in the air. I don't know, what I breathed in the air, but what happened was, for the next 2 months, I was coughing. And I wasn't, like, sick, but I had something in my lungs from that dust storm, and it was really annoying. I even went to a doctor, and he told me it's gonna go away, but it was, it just really sucked. Just coughing for 2 months, it was not a fun experience. It wasn't painful, it was more just annoying. It was, like, more of a nuisance, but that was, that's when I experienced a dust storm, and it was not fun at all. Thank you, General's Alert, for that super chat. What are your thoughts on that college professor teaching GTA universe history? What? You got what? You got to explain this a little bit more to me. What? I cannot stand when kids like GTA 5 is the only GTA there is and idolize it so much, and they have no idea about what Vice City, the 2002 game, is. Then how the hell are you going to be ready for GTA 6? Yeah, thank you, Sweet Pumpkin, for the super chat. And I would recommend anybody who's excited for GTA 6, I highly recommend you play 2 games before you play GTA 6. Play Vice City and Vice City Stories. If you've never played those games, play Vice City and Vice City Stories before you play GTA 6. Because even though they're in a different universe, it's still Vice City. And so there's probably going to be some Easter eggs and stuff like that to the old games. So I mean, Phil Cassidy is being rebooted in GTA 6, so I would highly recommend everybody to play, Vice City and GTA Vice City Stories. Both games are excellent games before GTA 6 comes out. But I do understand I do understand exactly what you mean, though. I do understand exactly what you mean, Sweet Pumpkin. That there are these kids who basically think that GTA 5 is the only GTA game out there, and they look at a game like Vice City, and they say, oh, this game has crappy graphics, this game sucks, when they don't realize it was, one of the best games ever made. So that is, like, I would say that GTA 5 suffers from this, like, I don't know how the term to use. It suffers from this crazy fanboyism that people think that GTA 5 is like the absolute king of GTA games, and they think that no other GTA game comes close to it, which I wouldn't say that that's true. No, I don't think that GTA 5 is a bad game by any means. I think, it's one of the best GTA games out there, sure. It has GTA 5 definitely has the best multiplayer. If you compare it to the multiplayer in like GTA 4 and even the multiplayer in like San Andreas, because San Andreas did have multiplayer. It was like, it was 2-player, but it did have it. GTA Online is definitely the best multiplayer in the series. But whether GTA 5 overall is the best, the best game, that's more of a debate. I personally think that the best GTA game is GTA 4. That's my opinion. But yeah, I guess everyone has their opinion. But the thing is, when you try to argue with some of these kids, whenever I argued with people, because I debated people before, and I argued with them, and people would tell me GTA 5 is like the best GTA game of all time. I asked them, like, what's your proof? Why is GTA 5 the best GTA game? Like, what is it? Is it the story? Is it the map? Is it the cars? Is it the graphics? Like, why is GTA 5, like, the best GTA game? And you know what they always say? They always give me the exact same answer. They say GTA 5 is the best-selling GTA game. Like, that's it. So, like, whenever I try to debate people on why GTA 5 is the best game, 9 times out of 10, people tell me, like, they don't have any kind of argument. They just always say, oh, it's the best-selling GTA game, but that's not an argument. It's not. Just because GTA 5 is the best-selling, GTA game doesn't make it the best game. Just because something sells more than another product doesn't mean that product is better. So that's what people don't understand. Just because GTA 5 sells more, and I will tell you something. Let's just say that GTA 6 is the worst GTA game ever. It's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be one of the best ones. But let's just say theoretically, it's the worst GTA game, right? If it is, GTA 6 will still sell more than any other GTA game, even if it's the worst GTA game in the entire series. The reason that it'll sell more is because it's so hyped and people are waiting for the next GTA game. So the next GTA game is going to sell the most amount of copies regardless of whether it's the best game or not. That's what people don't understand. That's the same thing that happened with GTA 5. People are so hyped for GTA 5 and it sold so many copies because of that. So that's what I'll say about it. And me personally, as somebody who really likes the story, I really like the stories in the GTA games. I like the lore in these games. I like the characters in the storylines. For me, the story in GTA 5 was kind of disappointing. I don't think it sucked. I think it was fun. I think the actors tried. I think there was good times to it. But honestly speaking, GTA 5 had the worst main antagonist in the entire series since you had the president of Venezuela, Massimo, in GTA Liberty City Stories. So that's basically what I'll say about it, is that, Liberty City Stories had the worst antagonist, the most boring one, before GTA 5, but then GTA 5, passed that with Devin Weston. Devin Weston, I think, was, like, the worst, villain in the entire series. No full auto in the building, Patrick? Wait, what do you mean? Dead Sea Pirate, thank you for this super chat. Hey Pro, if you were a game developer and you bought the Saints Row IP, what would you do with the IP? Reboot it or make it a true sequel to Saints Row 2? I would do a reboot. I would just start fresh over. Thank you, Jake, for the super chat, because there's a lot of people that probably haven't played Saints Row 2. So what I probably would do is I would probably make a remake of Saints Row 2. If I made a remake of Saints Row 2, I guarantee you that would sell a ton of copies. Just making a remake of Saints Row 2, that would sell so much. And then what I would do is I would do a reboot. And when I would do a reboot, I would do it in Stillwater. So it would be Stillwater, but it would be like, the city would be redone. New districts, everything. It would be a different map. It would still be Stillwater, but like it would not be necessarily the same map from Saints Row 2. And I would have, 3 new gangs, but I would reboot like the old characters like Johnny Gat, Julius, Troy, Dex, and maybe bring in some new characters too. What I was talking about is I heard about this thing where the University of Tennessee is teaching students history of the GTA universe as it were real life. Huh. That might be an interesting, crazy current events video to make. I'll look that up. I'll do a video on that, Bunny. That's interesting. That definitely is interesting. Well, a lot of people killed Michael too because they hated that what he did to Trevor, and then some people killed Trevor because they thought he was too unstable. But was the boss right to kill Julius? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like Julius betrayed him, screwed him over, put him in a coma. Enzo should have stayed away from Isabella, right, Steve? Thank you, Angelo, for the super chat. Yeah, honestly speaking, I don't think that Enzo really did anything wrong, and the reason that I think that way is because here's the thing. When you think about it, right? If you compare Enzo to all of the other Mafia characters, right? If you compare him to all of the other Mafia protagonists, Enzo was the only Mafia protagonist that basically blindly followed orders. And I mean, when you think about it, I'm right, aren't I? Enzo followed every single one of Teresi's orders. He never questioned any of his orders. He never went against him. He followed every single order. If you look at Vito and Tommy Angelo, for example, they didn't follow every single order, and they went against their bosses. So that's basically what I'll say is that he followed pretty much every order. And I guess you can make the argument that Lincoln followed every order too, but Lincoln got betrayed, so I don't really count him. Lincoln ended up forming his own group. But when you look at, Vito and, Tommy Angelo, is that Enzo followed every single order that Teresi gave. And so I don't think that there's anything wrong with what Enzo did, because it's not like he betrayed Teresi. He didn't, go behind Teresi's back. He didn't, steal money from him. He didn't rat him out to anybody. He didn't, stab him in the back. He just, was in love with his daughter, and his daughter loved him. It wasn't like he forced her into a relationship. So that's basically what I'll say about it, is I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong. I don't think he betrayed Teresi. I think Teresi saw it as him betraying him, but I don't think he betrayed Teresi. He stayed loyal to him in pretty much, everything that he ordered him to do. So that's Lincoln refused to replace Sammy, so yeah, Enzo was the only blind one. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Lincoln did go against Marcano because he didn't want to get rid of Sammy. Yeah, that is true. You're right on that. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, so Enzo is really when you really think about it, Enzo is the only protagonist. He followed every single order, and the boss still went after him. So that's basically what I'll say about it. If Enzo didn't get with Isabella, he would have been a Mafia leader. I don't know about that. I think Tino would have wanted to take over unless Tino died first. But the thing about that is that Torrisi could have literally had everything that he wanted if he hadn't been just so power hungry and greedy at the same time too. He basically saw his daughter as somebody that he was just going to use for he was just going to use his daughter for, more business connections and political connections by having her marry, like, that Baron aristocrat's, son, Gennaro. That's basically it. That's how he saw it, really. There was nothing else to that. It was just that primarily. And honestly, the thing is, though, is that if Torrisi had allowed Enzo to marry Isabella, I guarantee you he probably would have stayed in the Mafia. He probably would have. I think that Isabella might have been a bit pissed about that, but he still probably would have stayed in the Mafia. If he gave their blessing for the marriage, I think he would have. And honestly, Enzo would have been like the perfect, son for him, really, when you think about it. The perfect son-in-law. It's like he was somebody who was perfectly loyal to him, did everything that he wanted, accomplished everything, got rid of all of his enemies. So Enzo would have been the perfect son-in-law for him, but he was just too controlling, he was too manipulative, he couldn't think about his daughter's happiness, and that's basically what I'll say about it. I do think that Torrisi is the most evil, villain in the series. I do think he's the worst one. I think he's even worse than Marcano. The reason I think he's worse than Marcano is because as bad as Marcano is, at least Marcano loved his son. That's basically what I'll say about it. So, where Torrisi never loved his daughter. So that's basically what I'll say about it, is that when you don't even love your own children, I think that that's the point where you're just crossing the line to the most evil that you can be. And it gets weird seeing these GTA 5 kids make GTA 5 their life. You can tell they never lived life because they also so obsessed with GTA 5. Yeah, and I don't know why I am just so happy that I started playing other games in this channel, because if I played only GTA on this channel, I would have gotten a lot more views, probably more subscribers and more money, but I probably would not have been as happy. And I probably would have, I probably would have gotten burnt out a lot quicker. Like, playing GTA Online like every single day, like it got to the point where it was burning me out. So like, playing the game, on the streams, and then coming back to it and doing guides when updates come out, it gives me like a break and a bit refresher. And I'm more excited when an update comes out. I'm more excited for it because of that. So that's what I'll say about it. Is honestly, I think that these kids should give the other GTA games more of a try. I think they should. Thank you, Sweet Pumpkin. Was the giant chicken trying to scam Peter with that expired coupon, or was it just a mistake and Peter started it? You're talking about the chicken fights. Well, there really isn't any kind of scam there, because for there to be a scam, he would have to be trying to steal money from Peter. And it's not like he was trying to steal money from Peter. He just gave Peter an expired coupon. That was it. So for there to be some kind of scam, he'd have to gain something from it, but he wasn't really gaining anything from it. But I remember that, how that whole thing started. And that's the thing is, the chicken fights in Family Guy, they perfectly illustrate the downfall of Family Guy. They have. Like, those fights show just how much Family Guy has fallen as a show. The reason, the chicken fights, now hear me out, the chicken fights when they first happened, they were awesome. They were funny. And the chicken fights were like the most iconic part of Family Guy. Like, when that happened, like, everybody was talking about the chicken fights. They were like the best thing ever on Family Guy. But the reason that I say the chicken fights were the downfall of Family Guy is because when the chicken fights happened, they just came out of nowhere. Like there was times where, like, I remember when Peter was talking to Lewis about Chris, and then the chicken just appeared in the kitchen and attacked him, and it went into this crazy fight where a ship crashed, and they ended up going onto a ship, and the ship crashed into the city. There was one where they got fought on, like, a helicopter, and the helicopter crashed into a skyscraper. So, like, the fights were just so crazy. But the problem is that those fights were so unexpected. When the chicken fights happened, you didn't expect that. Like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, it was just a shock, and it was so funny when it happened. But now, these days on Family Guy, if you watch, like, every single Family Guy episode these days, like, somebody is constantly getting beat up for just something ridiculous. Like, people are getting beat up so much on Family Guy that, like, you just forget about that stuff. The reason the chicken fights were so good is because they came out of nowhere, but now it's like Family Guy, people are constantly getting beat up over the most ridiculous things. Like, everybody's getting attacked constantly, and it's gotten to the point where it's not even funny anymore. So that's basically what I'll say about it. Is like, when they used to have those old fights back in the day, they came out of nowhere, they were kind of funny, but now, like, this just constantly, everybody, one episode Brian constantly gets beat up, one episode Chris gets beat up, one episode Peter gets beat up, like, constantly over something stupid. It's to the point where it's not even really funny anymore. That's what I'll say about it. Explain Gifga's illegal crossing video to viewers. So that was the video that you wanted me to watch. It was I don't even know who they were. I did watch the video, but it was like just a bunch of trained surfers. I think they crossed the border from Italy into Austria. It was Italy into Austria, right? Or Austria into Italy. But I will just say something about this. You know what I don't understand about, like, those trained surfers and, like, those parkour people? You know what I never understand about them? What I don't understand about them is that they upload these videos where they do all this parkour, and they do these videos where they like hide on these trains, and where they're hiding on the trains illegally. They're breaking the law. You cannot ride on a freight train like that. You can't do that. And when the police come after them and they run away from the police, they add in all these dramatic sound effects and all this, like, crazy chase music, and then they monetize that, and they make it seem like the police are, like, the bad guys. They make it seem like the police are the bad guys for, like, chasing them. So, like, why are the police considered the bad guys for stopping these people from doing parkour and stuff? Like, they're trespassing on buildings, they're climbing up on the roofs of these buildings, they're surfing on trains, and yet the police are considered the bad guys for trying to stop them from doing that? So, that's basically what I don't understand about, like, some of these parkour channels and all that other stuff. Like, they demonize the police, they make the police look like the bad guys, when literally you're the idiot jumping from building to building. Like, are you surprised the police showed up? I don't get that personally. Remember when Peter became a mobster? That episode I do remember. Yep. I remember when Peter had the fish given to him, he thought that it was like a gift or something. He didn't even realize it was a threat. I feel like if Enzo killed Cesare, he would have had opportunities in the Vinci family, such as wealth, etc., but I feel like he would be a threat to Clementi, and he has to flee again. I think that Leo would have definitely given Enzo a place in the Vinci family. I think he would have definitely done that. If Teresi was dead, if Teresi was still alive, he probably wouldn't have risked that. But if Teresi was dead, he definitely would have given Enzo a place in the Vinci family. But honestly, like, you know, I don't want to get into too many spoilers because I guess it's still a recent game. But what I will say about that is, people were really angry about what happened to Enzo. Like, people were pissed about it. But the thing is, it made sense because it shows you Enzo's character. It shows that Enzo is not that type of person to just kill somebody like that. So that's basically it. Is while Cesare was, that was the whole point of that scene. That's the only way that he could defeat him. That's really the only way he could have beaten him, is that doing something scummy like that. That was the whole point. What's your squat, bench, deadlift? Well, I don't really do deadlifts, but when it comes to benching, about 140 pounds. That's how much I can do. I know some people might find that hard to believe, but I can do 140. I've been trying to I used to do 135, but I added like a little bit 2.5, you know, weight. It was 2.5 pound weights, like those really tiny ring weights. I think it's like 140 now, so like I increased it a little bit. Why do people think Nico is Russian, but he's Serbian? Ignorance. It's like people hear a Slavic accent and they assume that he's from Russia.
How you doing?
It shows that Enzo isn't some cold-blooded murderer, and to survive in the Mafia you have to be a scumbag. Basically, yeah. How much do I weigh? About 150. Do you think Carlo Falcone deserved more screen time? Yeah, I think he did. Carlo Falcone only appeared in, I think, he only appeared in 3 chapters? I think it was only 3 chapters in total that he appeared in. Mafia 2 is not a very long game. Like, people think that Mafia 2 is a long game. Mafia 2 is not a long game at all. You could beat Mafia 2 in 1 day. That's how short of a game it is. Thank you, Mr. Jesus. What characters from the Mafia series are sheep, wolf in sheep clothing, and sheep in wolf's clothing? What characters in the Mafia series are sheep? Easy. Marty. Marty is the sheep. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Think about that one. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Salieri. Salieri, yeah. Salieri, I would say about that, yeah. And sheep in wolf's clothing. Maybe Henry. As for the wolf, probably Tino. Yeah, Tino. I would say Tino. Yeah, I know Tony Montana's voice actor and Scarface voice Falcone. I know that, yeah. Why do these game developers release games with glitches? Because they think that they can fix it later, and also on top of that, it's a lot of times corporate. The thing is, I will say this: a lot of times when a game releases glitchy, don't blame the developers, but blame the publisher, because a lot of times it's the publisher's fault. A lot of times the developers are aware of the glitches, they know that a game is glitchy, but they still release it because the publisher pushes them. That happens a lot of times.
Dude, it's fucking weird. It's like a landing strip in the desert.
Whoa, what's going on here? What the? Wait a second, it's the... That was the Valkyrie helicopter from the Titan mission. Oh my god, okay, it attacked the shipment here. I forgot about that because the crazy thing about it is if you do that mission with the Titan when you're selling, that was an NPC helicopter that attacked me. If you do the mission with the Titan while you're selling, the NPC helicopters will attack you. They'll attack you with those explosive cannons. Well, the Italian Mafia doesn't really have that many connections in California. That's why you don't really see them in a game like, you know, in San Andreas. The Mafia have a lot of connections in Las Vegas, yes, but not really in California.
Hey, wanna do a juice cleanse with me?
Meriwether Valkyrie is the most dangerous NPC. Oh yeah, the explosive cannons can be really ridiculous. You're right, yeah. Off the road, people.
Yeah, it's bad the first two.
Have you gotten around to watching King of the Hill? I think it's on Amazon Prime. When I get some time, I will start watching it again. There was, but I will say, a couple weeks ago, I did watch one King of the Hill episode. A couple weeks ago, there was one. I don't remember the name of the episode, but I remember what happened. There was a really bad rainstorm, and there was a flood, and what happened was Hank was driving around while there was the flood happening, and then he drove over to some dam, and the guy left his post, and then Hank was talking to some guy on the phone, and the guy told him that he has to pull the floodgates when the dam starts cracking, and Hank thought the dam was cracking. He hit the gate, and then it flooded the town. And then what happened was the guy who abandoned his post was actually at the gym where everybody else was, and then he was attacking Hank, saying it's his fault when he was the guy who left the post. And the people were so stupid they listened to the guy instead of Hank. But that was the episode I saw recently. It's on Hulu too. Okay. What's the hardest, most annoying platinum trophy you've ever done? World at War. World at War, yeah. I have a World at War platinum trophy. World at War. World at War's the worst one. Yeah, World at War.
I don't doubt it. We were at Shrooms, they say spores are alien.
World at War, I will say, about World at War, I think World at War made me go insane. You guys know that mission, Heart of the Reich? It's like the second to the last mission when you have to, like, you push up towards the Reichstag of Reznov. That mission should not be called Heart of the Reich. You know what that mission should be called? That mission should be called Heart of the Grenade. Because on veteran difficulty in World at War, the enemies will just throw infinite grenades at you. It's ridiculous. Like, it's like 5 grenades at you at once. Like, you cannot even stay in one piece of cover for a few seconds. It's ridiculous. I hate the grenades so much in World at War. It's disgusting. I still gotta do that veterans live stream. So one day we're gonna do a co-op stream of Call of Duty World at War. We'll do a 4-player co-op, and we'll do it on veteran together. Because I'm not doing veteran solo, but we'll get through the campaign together on co-op on veteran. But it's we'll play with 3 other players. The only missions I know we can't do is we can't do Vendetta and we can't do Black Cats on co-op. But I guess that is what it is. But yeah. Let me do the Vincent missions, by the way, right now, here. Let me do one of the Vincent missions here.
You're through to your garage. You, need me to bring you a ride?
Where did I even park my police vehicle? I'm forgetting the name of it. Hang on. I'm gonna use the police bike. I'll just use that.
I'll bring it by. Alright, I'll get back to work.
We just give a mining company to another mobster. Yeah, that's basically what happened in Mafia, the old country. Ramirez, invade Russia with the U.S. Constitution. Thank you, Angelo, for the super chat. Thank you, Christine, also. Well, I played Jimmy's Adventures, Betrayal of Jimmy, and Jimmy's Vendetta. Yes, but that'll be a little bit later. We're going to focus on Mafia 3 next. I'm also going to have another part. I will have another part of Joe's Adventures tonight. Take out those effing PT boats. Yep. You know what the most iconic lines in World at War for the American campaign, the most annoying line in the American campaign is take out those effing PT boats. The most annoying line in the Soviet campaign is you only grazed him. You only grazed him. That's the most annoying line in the Soviet campaign. That one. Ugh. I hated that part. Fire the Panzerschreck! Yep, I remember that one too. You only wounded him, yep. Eliminate professional specialist. Well, we are the professional. Okay. the area. World at War is the status called the ending ever. Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. Just that horrifying part at the end with the really creepy music that plays, and when it says 60 million people died as a result of World War II. It is the worst war in human history. Yeah. Big country. Hold on, dude. Give me a moment. I will help you in a little bit. Just give me a moment, dude. Tomorrow's the end of summer season. Yep, tomorrow's fall starts. Yep. What's my dream car in real life? Mine's a 77 T-Bird. I don't think that I really have a dream car, honestly. I'm not really a car person, honestly, to tell you that, Ryan. I can tell you, oh, there's a cooldown. Let me help Big Country, then. So, here's my thing about cars. I have a car. My car I've had since 2017. So, I've had my car for, 8 years at this point now? But, about my car is the BMW 2013 328i. Even though I got it in 2017, it was, it's from 2013. That's when the car is. So my car is 12 years old. And about my car is, I am going to drive that car until it completely breaks down. Like, that's just the type of person that I am. Like, I don't have any need to change a car or, like, get another car. I'm not even that big into cars. So if, like, the point when my car becomes too expensive to fix, like, it just has all these problems and it's just too expensive to fix, at that point I'll just get rid of it. And if I'm gonna get another car, what I'll probably do is I'm gonna get a used car, probably like another 5 or 6 year used car. It'll probably be another BMW because that's really the only car that I'm used to driving. But it's probably gonna be like 5 or 6 years old, maybe even older than that. So that's the type of person that I am. I don't buy any new stuff. I buy used stuff, and I see a car as more of something to get me from point A to point B. It's not something necessarily for me. Like, I want it to look decent, don't get me wrong. I like my car, but it's not like, it's not something that I'm necessarily going to go crazy for. So I don't think I really have a dream car, and even if I had a dream car, I would probably go crazy just looking at the insurance or the prices and, stuff like that. So that's basically what I'll say about that, Ryan. I hope that answered your question, Ryan. Did it? Tomorrow's the end of summer season, Pat. Yeah. Thank you, Isaiah. Tomorrow is the end of summer. I will tell you guys something. And some of these insurance companies, I will say, are just so, some of these insurance companies are just so greedy and scummy. I have an insurance company, and the insurance company that I bundled them for everything, basically, my car, my apartment, and my 2 rental properties as well. So my 2 rental properties are part of that as well. And what happened is, one of my insurance agent, the guy that helped me, get that insurance policy, he went to a new company. And he called me, and he's like, Pat, I've gone to a new company, and, I think I can get you a good deal and stuff like this. And I hadn't used him in, like, 2 years, but I did remember him. And he's like, well, come to my office, and, we'll talk about it. I came to his office, it was, like, earlier this year, because my insurance was going to, my insurance contract was going to go up, and so I had to decide whether I was going to stay with the insurance or go to another one. And what happened is, I didn't tell him how much I was paying for my current insurance, because I just wanted to see what he was going to quote me at. And he wanted me to pay $4,000 more in total. So, like, everything that I paid for all of my, my 2 rental properties and, my car and my apartment, he wanted me to pay, $4,000 more. And what I'll say about that is it wasn't even better coverage. It wasn't, because they were covering my rental properties up to $250,000, when my other rental properties were actually covered up to $350,000. So I was paying more, and I was getting less coverage for his plan. and I basically told him no, and I said that I'm getting paid a lot, I'm paying a lot less for this plan. There's no need for me to change. But that's basically what I'll say about it. Is I don't know like what he was thinking. That he thought I was gonna change plans and like pay $4,000 more and it had less coverage. Like I don't know if he thought that I wasn't gonna read the contract, but I did read the contract, and yes, I couldn't believe that it was so much more, and yet I got less coverage too. Like that's what I'll say about it too. So it was just not a good experience, and I don't necessarily think he was scamming me. I don't think he was, because he was just like he did seem like a nice guy, and he was just an agent, but it was more his company that was at fault. But that's basically what I'll say about it. Is yeah, just make sure you do your research when you work with these companies, because some of them will really overcharge you.
Wanna do juice cleanse with me?
I remember that do you know what my insurance company wanted me to do though? My insurance company, I remember, they wanted me to put this tracker thing inside the car, which was gonna basically it was basically gonna say how if I'm a safe driver and stuff like that, and if I'm a safe driver, I was gonna get like a discount. And I asked the insurance company, like, what happens if somebody's like an unsafe driver? Like, are their rates gonna go up? And he said, yeah. And then I said, well, what happens if, how does it determine if you're a safe driver or not? And he told me it was based on speed, and it was based on how often you brake and stuff like that. And then I said to him, well, what if you're braking because it's somebody else's fault? What if you're braking because it's not your fault, because somebody's being an idiot on the road and you have to you have to stop the car? And he said they can't really tell on stuff like that. And so why would I put this in my car and stuff like that? It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. No. And I will tell you something. I live in the Midwest, and where I live in the Midwest, it's just mostly plains, so there aren't really that many bad drivers because there's very few people on the road. But I will tell you, though, that if this was in New York, and my parents had that in their car, their rates would go up tremendously. And not because my parents are bad drivers, but because the amount of stupid drivers that are in New York, like where I'm from, the amount of stupid idiots that you will see on the road doing the most ridiculous dumb things, and you have to brake to avoid hitting them. There's so many idiots that their rates would have definitely gone up from that. But I will tell you, though, as bad as the drivers are in New York drivers aren't the worst that I've seen. The worst drivers that I've seen are Chicago drivers. Chicago drivers honestly scare me. I've driven in Chicago a couple times. I've driven through downtown Chicago a few times, and I haven't ever seen anything like that. I thought New York drivers were the worst, but then when I drove through Chicago, oh my god, that was that was, I don't want to do that again. That was no. They made iPhone 17s. Don't buy it immediately. I will get a new iPhone, because iPhone is really the only phone that I really use. I tried using an Android years ago, but I didn't like it. But when it comes to phones, I'm the same thing as I am when it comes to cars. It's the exact same thing for me. I'm gonna basically use my phone until I can't use my phone anymore, and so I get a new phone like every 5 years, like around there. So I got my last phone like 3 years ago. I'm gonna use this phone for a couple more years, and then that's it. My parents are gonna move, are retiring to Nevada next year. And I'm gonna help them out with that, and so my parents are probably gonna get new phones next year, and I might, get a new phone with them. But I don't really, I don't really like to, buy phones like that. It's like I'm gonna get a new phone when I need one. So I'm gonna use my phone until it I can't use it really anymore. Hey there, Professional. Do you know of the Metro games series? It's a trilogy somewhat similar to the old Stalker games. Oh, I know the Metro games. I haven't played all of them. I played Metro 2033. I played and I beat it. I played Last Light and I beat it. I didn't play what was it? Redux, I think it was, the new one, the open world one with the train. I didn't play that one, but I did play the first two ones. But I remember Metro. It was the apocalyptic game. It was like it was basically like nuclear apocalypse Fallout, but it takes place in the Soviet Union, or the former Soviet Union, because Metro is a game where the Soviet Union never collapsed, so the Soviet Union still existed. So it was the Cold War never ended in the Metro series. But that was yeah, I remember the Metro, and I remember they had all of the stations They had like that one station that was controlled by Nazis, that one train station, and then they had the other train station that was controlled by communists. Slow down driving pro. What, he got an aversion to red lights? Thank you, Offer, for the super chat. No, it's the Indianapolis Speedway, that's what it is. Which map is bigger, Red Dead Redemption 2 or GTA San Andreas? Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, Red Dead 2 is the bigger one. Thank you, Mr. Professional. Hey, Railroad. Yeah, I know the live stream got like 500,000 viewers at one point. It was a huge, one of the biggest live streams. I know there was some psycho that was arrested outside with a gun. I did hear about that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, just like Sweet. I remember Sweet says that in San Andreas. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh. Is this cop car supposed to be based on Fargo? Is that what it's supposed to be based on? Because I think it kind of reminds me of the 90s Fargo movie. But, do you plan on playing Der Riese the Giant or Kino der Toten Cinema the Dead? I learned German from the university. Yeah, Kino der Toten, I'm gonna have that video up later this month. As for yeah. Der Riese, I could have that one too. I have to upload the World at War maps too. The World at War ones I gotta upload too. Is New Jersey Turnpike terrible to drive for you? Well, about New Jersey is if you make one wrong turn, you can't make another, you can't make you can't fix it for like miles. That's the problem with the New Jersey Turnpike. Do you plan on playing Der Riese? Yeah, well, I just answered that one. Yeah, Kino der Toten will be later this month, and eventually I'm going to do all the maps, Minion Dave. Thank you for the super chat. Do I like Calvin Coolidge? I always thought he was an underrated president. Yeah, I think Calvin Coolidge was a decent president. He stayed out of people's personal lives for the most part, lowered taxes, got government out of people's lives. I think he was an okay president. I think Hoover, that came after him, was pretty bad. Hoover was pretty bad. But I didn't really have a problem with Coolidge necessarily. And Coolidge was a much better president than what we had when we had Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was like the worst president in that time period. Woodrow Wilson was such a terrible president. Thank you, Until Dusk, for being a member of my channel for 8 months. Crazy that video game hasn't even been released yet is getting the Y2K treatment. GTA 6 hype is sort of control. Universities are starting to teach American history through GTA. And guys, just think about what's gonna happen the week that GTA 6 releases. Just imagine what's gonna happen on YouTube. Just YouTube alone. The amount of YouTubers that are gonna post spoilers, I cannot imagine that. And that's just, it's gonna be disgusting. Like the amount of people that are gonna post spoilers, like those YouTubers that always upload, like, just whenever a new game comes out, they always just upload all the cutscenes of the game, and they upload like all the spoilery scenes like right away. Like, you guys know those YouTubers I'm talking about. They have like 1 million subs, and then they always upload like the most spoilerly like cutscenes constantly for views, like right when the game comes out, and just ruin the story for people. Like, I don't even know why people do stuff like that. It is just so dishonest and just so scummy. But those YouTubers are gonna do that. I'm telling you, those YouTubers are gonna do that right when the when GTA 6 comes out, and they're gonna, like, somebody's gonna betray you in GTA 6. It's gonna happen. Somebody will betray you, and they are gonna put a I guarantee you they're gonna put out like videos. Oh, this character betrays you, and they're gonna put it in the title and the thumbnail, and they're just gonna ruin it, the story for people, like right when the game comes out. The Hank Hill scene made me upset. Which Hank Hill scene? Tommy Angelo, thank you for the super chat. Was it the damn one I was talking about? But thank you, U20. I think that GTA 6 will be the biggest game of the biggest game in like decades, and it's going and about GTA 6 is that game will be studied for decades to come. Like decades from now, that game will be studied. If you can eat your food while everyone else loses theirs and blaming you, then you straight, homie. That's Big Smoke. Big Smoke says that in drive-thru. Yep. Thank you, Isaiah, for the super chat. And also, when Big Smoke says that line, if you can eat your food while everyone else is losing theirs and blaming you, you straight, homie. What he's basically saying with that line is, he says, what Big Smoke is really saying, if you can profit while everyone else is suffering or getting screwed over, then you're good. That's basically what he's saying. If you can profit at the expense of others, then you're good. Pro, do you know about the UTTP comments on YouTube? They reply to comments with don't care, plus my content is better. Some also say they have CP. It's insane. Wait, what? Can you explain a little bit more, Shiny Knight? You don't have to super chat me again, but if you could just explain a little bit more, I'm just a bit confused. Can somebody explain to me what is this UTTP comment stuff? What is this? It's the first time I'm hearing about this. Sorry, this is Sicily. This is business Cesare. Oh, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam, for subscribing. Hello, Pro. I did a stream of Metro games, even a new one. Did you like them? UTTP comments are bots? Oh, bots, yeah. What was the Y2K scare? What wasn't Y2K where people were worried about the world was gonna end? Wasn't that what Y2K was? Correct me if I'm wrong. I hear people say that all the time, but I don't even remember what it is. It wasn't it the one where people were scared the world was gonna end? The internet was going to crash. That's what it was. Oh. Bot comments. So the scammers use bots a lot of times too. Why did your parents choose Nevada? Well, my parents wanted to retire to a place that doesn't have, you know, state income tax and is more affordable. And my parents thought about Florida, but the reason they didn't like Florida was because Florida is, it's hot in the daytime and hot in the nighttime. But Nevada, it might be really hot in the daytime, but at least it's cooler at nighttime because it's a desert. Pro, have you ever fired the mini, Ruger 14? I have in Vice City. In Vice City, the assault rifle in Vice City is the Ruger the mini 14. But no, I have never fired it in real life. But the mini 14 is a great gun, but the mini 14 was really destroyed by the AR-15. The AR-15 destroyed the mini 14 because the AR-15 just had so much customization to it. There was just so many different things you could do with an AR-15, but a mini 14, it didn't have the same customization as an AR-15, and that's really why the AR-15 won the competition in that. Yeah, Y2K. Okay, so Y2K was about the computers all crashing. Okay, I get it now. Missed some super chats? I missed super chats? I'm sorry, let me see. Thank you, Bunny and Brandon. Oh, I see. Imagine all the people skipping work and school when GTA 6 releases. Yeah, that is going to happen. Is a lot of people are going to skip work in school when GTA 6 releases. Is going to happen. Thank you, Bunny, for the super chat. Trevor got on yeah, and I wonder how much it's going to affect the economy, too. I wonder how much... people are probably going to brace for that. People are probably going to expect that when it's going to happen. But when people call out sick when they're on the day GTA 6 releases, all the bosses are going to know what that's about. Trevor got uncomfortable with the man that said he wasn't scared, and Trevor hesitated. But when I control Trevor, I pull out my RPG and I start blasting. Thank you, Alien, for the super chat. But you have to understand the reason that Trevor did not get scared of that guy. I forget the guy's name. What was the guy's name? The guy with the hat, the guy with the cowboy hat that wasn't scared of Trevor. He was in Paleto Bay. But about that guy, the reason that Trevor got scared of him is because, think about it, Trevor relies on fear and intimidation. Just fear. And that's Trevor gets what he wants through fear. Like, he constantly intimidates people and he constantly scares people. And he gets Manuel, yeah. Trevor gets whatever he wants by scaring people. And when somebody is not scared of him, that scares him because he doesn't know how to react, and he's possibly thinking that that person is tougher than him. It's really the same. It's really the same thing when you have like certain wild animals. Like, you know, certain wild animals, like you see, they get scared of people. Like when people don't show that they're scared of them, that those animals back off. Like if you have like a dangerous animal, like you have a dangerous bear or something like that, and you don't show the bear that you're scared of it, a lot of times the bear will back off. Because the bear is scared. When it realizes that you're not scared, when it realizes that you're not showing fear, it backs off. Trevor is like that in a way. Trevor is like, you know, a violent, you know, savage person. And he relies on this fear and intimidation. And when he doesn't get scared, when somebody doesn't get scared of him, he basically reacts the same ways that a bear would. Because he backs off. Because he's just so scared of that. Is Trevor a psychopath or a sociopath? More of a sociopath. He's not a psychopath. But yeah, that's basically it. It's really the same thing when you think about it. Trevor is like a predator basically, like a wild animal that like just preys on the weak. And what happens is when somebody shows that they're not scared of him, he basically reacts like that. Most evil hitman target excluding Edwards and Leland Kane. The most evil target in the Hitman series. Does the movie count? Because the 2007 movie, you could say that the Russian president's body double is the most evil, you know, person he killed, because he wanted to take over Russia, you know, take over an entire country. So, you know, that's what I would say about it. And his brother was like an arms dealer, and he was the 2007 movie, because the 2015 Hitman movie sucked, but the 2007 movie was actually pretty good. Okay, I think the game crashed here. Oh, I hate when this happens. Okay. Reminds me of the Zhang Fa president body double in a way, yeah. Okay. What's funny is if you do a mission replay where your Trevor Manuel's number is in your contacts, when you call Manuel, it's a busy line. Oh. I didn't know that, alien. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, but I didn't know that. Is there any 18th century president that George Washington would have hated? I would say the number one president that George Washington probably would have hated the most, like just despised the most. I'm thinking here. I'm gonna talk about all presidents. Wait, that comment got removed? What comment got removed? Oh, I didn't remove any comment. The president that I think George Washington probably would have hated the most in the 19th century probably would have been James Buchanan. And I think the president the reason that George Washington I think would have hated James Buchanan the most is because James Buchanan, a lot of people don't know about him, but Buchanan is the worst president in American history, the absolute worst one, the biggest idiot that we have ever had as a president, the biggest idiot. Now, the reason that James Buchanan is the biggest idiot president that we've ever had, usually presidents are bad presidents because they do something stupid. But in Buchanan's case, the reason he was such a bad president is because he did absolutely nothing. That's why he was such a bad president. Now, who was Buchanan? Buchanan was the president right before Lincoln. So he was the president right before Lincoln became president. And have you ever wondered, for example, like, how did the Confederacy build such a huge army? Like, how did they have all of those weapons? How did they have those uniforms? How did they have all of that? All those horses, all those trains? How did they have all of that ready? Like, the second that Lincoln became president, they had an army, like their own uniforms and everything ready. How did they? You ever wonder how the Confederacy had all those weapons and had everything like that? The reason they had that is because they were building up their own army during Buchanan's presidency. Like, they were threatening to secede, and they were literally building up their own huge military. And Buchanan did absolutely nothing to stop this. Like, when it was still weak, when they were building up their militaries, he did nothing to stop this. And basically what Buchanan was saying is, he was saying, if the southern states secede, there's nothing really I can do about it. That's what Buchanan's attitude was about it. And then what happened was, when Lincoln took power, Lincoln inherited that mess. And then the Confederate States immediately seceded when Lincoln basically became president, and then they attacked Fort Sumter and the Civil War started. So I think that the worst president in American history would have to go down to the guy who basically let his country fall to civil war. A president that lets his country fall to civil war and basically just fall apart like that, I think any president that lets his country fall into civil war has got to be the worst president ever. And that's what I would say Buchanan is the worst is the worst president ever. So George Washington would have hated Buchanan because George Washington would have wanted the country to stay together, and I think that's what he would have hated him the most. As for, if you're talking about the 20th century, what president would he have hated the most in the 20th century? In the 20th century, it would have been Woodrow Wilson, because Woodrow Wilson was a strong interventionist, and George Washington did not want to get involved in other countries' problems. He didn't want to get involved in other countries' affairs, and so he would have been completely against getting involved in World War I. And I think that was Wilson he would have hated Wilson the most in the 20th century. Yeah, Watch Mojo said his whole presidency was bad. Yeah, well, that was it. Buchanan was just an idiot. What about the president we have right now? I do not speak on modern politics. About modern politics, I stay away from that. I'll speak on historical presidents, like presidents we've had a long time ago, but I'm not going to speak on modern stuff, because I stay away from that stuff. It's just too messy and disgusting. Argue Andrew Johnson is worse. Well, Andrew Johnson was the worst president we could have had in that time. If Lincoln had stayed alive, Lincoln could have gotten so much stuff done if Lincoln would have stayed, never been assassinated. He could have gotten so much more done. What about Johnson with the Vietnam War? Johnson was a terrible president too. But I would say that Wilson was worse than Johnson, because Wilson, the reason that I would say that Wilson was ultimately worse than Johnson is because even though Wilson got us in World War I and Johnson got us into Vietnam, even though the Vietnam War was a stupid war, the Vietnam War at least had more justification behind it in comparison to World War I. Like, World War I was not a war that we needed to get involved in. It was just like a stupid conflict. Like, it was the stupidest, World War I has got to be the stupidest war in human history. The stupidest, dumbest war in human history has got to be World War I. And that was a war that we could have completely avoided, honestly. If I was the president of the United States, I would have kept us out of World War I. I would have never gotten involved in World War I. That was such a dumb war. And so Wilson got America involved in World War I, and America didn't even get anything out of it. Like, what did we get out of World War I? Like, these European empires basically just kept for more colonies. That's basically all we did. We got into World War I, 115,000 Americans died, and for what? So these, monarchies in Europe could basically keep their colonies and their, expand their power. That was basically it. We basically helped a bunch of empires get more colonies. So that's basically what I'll say about that, is, at least Vietnam was a pretty stupid war too, but at least Vietnam had more justification behind it, like trying to stop the spread of communism, where, and South Vietnam was asking us for help, where World War I was just a stupid conflict that we didn't even need to get anything out of. You are, You're searching for animal materials, but animal materials are actually bad to use for your hangar. Manage vehicles. Let me see here. You don't need to blow it up. I can take it with the Phantom Wedge. Hold on. What are your thoughts on Harry Truman? I thought Harry Truman was a great president. I liked him. I think that Truman was a better president than he was a much better president than FDR. Like, people think that FDR was a better president than Truman. I don't agree. I think that Truman was a much better president than FDR. The reason that I have a problem with FDR is because FDR was just too weak when it came to dealing with the Soviet Union. Like, FDR was very appeasing towards the Soviets. That's basically what I would say. Like, whenever the Soviets wanted something, FDR just gave it to them. And when the Soviets were breaking agreements, FDR didn't really do anything about that. Where Truman was very hardline anti-communist, and he was, not going to tolerate them breaking agreements and, doing crap like that. Truman was completely against that. Man, oh, FDR's in chat. FDR doesn't like that I said that. FDR did do good things, don't get me wrong. He got us through, World War II. But what I will... And FDR did do make FDIC. FDIC is a great program even today. But Truman was just a better president overall because he knew how to deal with the Soviets, where FDR didn't know how to deal with the Soviets. Also, Truman was the one who desegregated the military. A lot of people don't know that. So the military got desegregated in the 50s. Was under Truman's orders. And Truman also ended discrimination in the federal workplace when it came to hiring. FDR's worst thing is the internment camps. Yep, that is true. He did that. Well, about that video, Phoenix, is I want to make that video when I finish the Yakuza games, because I'm sure I want to put one Yakuza character in there. Yeah, Truman also did help save South Korea. If it wasn't for Truman, South Korea probably would be under North Korea today. Also, what else? Yeah, I know the fence was stuck to it. The other thing I'll say about Truman is the reason that I like Truman is because Truman was a very he was that type of president that could really reach out to the common man and woman. Because Truman did not come from elitism. He didn't come from a very wealthy background. He grew up as a Midwestern farmer's boy. Also, Truman is the only president in history that. He's the only president in history that never went to college. A lot of people don't know that, for example. Oh wait, let me, I think actually I made a mistake. I'll just take the long way around, screw it. But about Truman, when Truman called Oppenheimer like a baby, that is real, because Truman had a very direct way of talking to people. Truman would not hold back. If he was pissed off at somebody, he would curse them out. Even if this was like a important public official, he would curse them out. That's the type of guy that he was. The best freak out that he's ever had is when he met with Molotov, and Molotov was the foreign minister of the Soviet Union. And when he met with Truman was pissed. The reason that Truman was pissed was because Stalin was breaking all of his agreements. Like, Stalin promised to honor free elections in Poland, and he was not honoring that. And Truman got really pissed. And when he got really pissed and he met with Molotov, he cursed out Molotov. He basically told him to go F himself. That's what he said to the Soviet foreign minister. He basically told the Soviet foreign minister to go F himself. So imagine an American president talking to a top Soviet official like that. That's how Truman talked to the foreign minister of the Soviet Union. And when Molotov reacted and he said, in my entire diplomatic career, I have never had anybody talk to me like this. And Truman said, if you don't want people talking to you like this, keep your goddamn promises. That's what he said. So that's what I like about Truman, is Truman was way more direct. He didn't tolerate this BS. Where Roosevelt was just way more appeasing. Like, whenever the Soviets did something bad, Roosevelt would a lot of times ignore it. So that's what I'll say about Truman, is Truman was much more direct. And are you a fan of the old Mafia movies with New York City accent, for example, The Sopranos? Yeah, I love The Sopranos. Thank you, Nikki, for the super chat. You know what the crazy thing about him, the crazy thing about Truman is he was also fearless. He was a fearless guy where he was not scared of anyone, no one. He showed no fear. What happened is he would walk down the streets in Washington, D.C. every single day, like in public, and go to his favorite sandwich shop and get a coffee and a sandwich. Every single day, he would go to like the same store and get a coffee and a sandwich. And when he walked through, he didn't want to get driven. He didn't want to be driven by a car. He wanted to walk through the streets, and he didn't want bodyguards either. He wanted to walk by himself, and he told the Secret Service, I don't want you guys, following me around. I want to, my privacy. I want to go get my sandwich. I want to go get my coffee. And so, like, imagine the president of the United States just walking down the streets in D.C. and just going to his favorite, sandwich shop and getting a coffee and a sandwich every day. But the thing about this is Truman thought that he wasn't being followed, but he was. The Secret Service just pretended to be civilians. They pretended to be regular civilians on the street, and they would just follow him secretly. And what they would do is they would constantly, like, hack the traffic lights. So every single time Truman approached an intersection, it would just turn into a red light so that he would keep going, because they didn't want him to stop. They wanted him to keep moving. They didn't want him to be in one place. So if he's constantly moving, it makes it harder for somebody to kill him. So that was basically that. But that's basically what I say about it. He was generally a great president. I think Truman is an underrated president. I think he was generally a good guy. Yeah, that's that. I know that Oppenheimer tried to portray Truman as like a really kind of like a cold-hearted person, but the reality of that is that Truman did not want to send American soldiers into Japan, because he knew that if he sent American soldiers into Japan, he would have had hundreds of thousands of casualties, and there would have been millions of deaths and millions of civilian deaths ultimately. And when it came to Oppenheimer, the reason that he called Oppenheimer a baby is because Oppenheimer believed that if the United States did not develop nuclear weapons, the Soviets wouldn't. And that's basically what Truman was getting at when he called Oppenheimer a baby. He was saying that you're an idiot for thinking that the Soviets aren't going to develop nuclear weapons if we don't. So that was basically about that too. It was renovated during Truman's presidency, the White House. I didn't know that. We can just blow up the cargo here and just take it. You can blow up the truck and, yeah, that'll be it. How did I get the name Polish Mercenary? I was a really big fan of the game Mercenaries Playground Destruction back in the day. I made this PSN in 2009, so that's when I made this PSN. It's been a very long time. What are your thoughts on Eisenhower? I think Eisenhower was a decent president too. I think that Eisenhower did a good job of how he handled Little Rock. Is he sent in the National Guard? He sent in the National Guard to protect the kids when they were going to school. What basically happened? It was Little Rock in Arkansas. There was a Supreme Court decision, and they were ordered to desegregate the schools. And what happened was the governor of Arkansas was going against that, and he was refusing to comply with the Supreme Court, and he still wanted, to keep segregation. And what happened was there was black kids that were going to school, and they were getting attacked by like mobs of white people, and the KKK was like threatening kids, and kids couldn't go to school safely. And so what he did was he sent the paratroopers and National Guardsmen, and he basically made sure that the kids were safe when they went to school. I honestly, I think that governor should have been arrested. I think he should have been arrested. I don't know why they never arrested him for doing that. But that was one of Eisenhower basically saying, we're not going to tolerate this crap. And he was very direct with that. Also, I will say about Eisenhower, the other thing about him is one of my favorite things that he said is during Eisenhower's presidency, there was the U-2 spy plane incident. The U-2 spy plane is, that plane that got shot down over the Soviet Union. And when the U-2 spy plane got shot down, the Soviets were making such a big deal out of it. They were making such a big deal out of it, and they were saying, like, there's this American pilot that was, spying on our country, and he was an imperialist, and all this blah, 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 evil capitalist. And the Soviets were basically, constantly, it was constantly in the Soviet press, they were constantly talking about it. They paraded around that pilot, they shamed him. And Eisenhower said about that, he said, the Soviets are saying that we spied on them, and he didn't deny it that we were spying on them, but he said at the same time too, the amount of Soviet spies that we have arrested in America, the amount of deceit, sabotage, the amount of bribery that we have encountered they're just hypocrites. And he was right on that. Eisenhower was right when he called the Soviets hypocrites, because the thing about that is the Soviets were making such a big deal out of it that we had that a spy plane had been shot down. But do you know how many Soviet spies were arrested in America? There was dozens of Soviet spies that were arrested before that spy plane incident even happened. And most of the time what the Soviets were doing is they were engaging in bribery. Bribery was a lot of times is that the Soviets would pay top government officials to give them information. Like there was just so many cases of bribery. They would bribe directors, government officials, like so many people a lot of times to give them information on America. And so many people had betrayed their country just for money. And they were just, so the Soviets did that so many times, and Eisenhower was right when he called the Soviets hypocrites for complaining about a spy plane when they at the same time were just constantly sending in spies into America over and over again. What do you think about Richard Nixon? Well, Nixon did some good and some bad things. I will say about Nixon, though, the stupidest thing that Nixon did, it wasn't even Watergate. The stupidest thing that Nixon did, I would say, is when he supported Pakistan. Because in 1971 there was a crisis where Bangladesh was still part of Pakistan, and they were rebelling against Pakistan, and Pakistan had sent the military into what was East Pakistan at the time, Bangladesh, and they were committing genocide. Like the Pakistani military was just rounding up people by the thousands and just shooting them and killing them. And Nixon was really pissed off at India because India was a little bit closer to the Soviet Union than the U.S. And what he did was he sent the American Navy in to threaten India, and that was kind of a really stupid thing because he destroyed relations with India, and it was just not a smart good thing to do. It was kind of stupid. But I will say that the one thing that Nixon did that a lot of people attack Nixon over this, but when you really look at Nixon's perspective on this other thing, that when Nixon invaded Cambodia. Because Nixon did invade Cambodia, and a lot of people called Nixon imperialist. They said, oh, he's a bad person for invading Cambodia, but they didn't really understand his perspective on why he did that. Nixon didn't just decide to invade Cambodia for no reason. The reason that Nixon invaded Cambodia during the Vietnam War is because Cambodia was a monarchy, and it was controlled by this guy called Sihanouk. He was the king of Cambodia. And what the North Vietnamese did was they built the Ho Chi Minh Trail through Cambodia, and they also built the Sihanouk Trail, named after the king. So what the North Vietnamese army did was they built all these paths and all these roads through Cambodia. So what the North Vietnamese would do is they would send their military through Cambodia, and the Viet Cong too, and they would send their supplies, their tanks, their trucks, all of that stuff through Cambodia, and Cambodia was a neutral country. And so the U.S. couldn't attack Cambodia because it was a neutral country, and Vietnam took advantage of that. So the North Vietnamese, they were sending all these weapons and tanks and stuff like that, and then what they were doing is they were flanking the U.S. and attacking South Vietnam through the Cambodian border. And the U.S. had complained to Cambodia about this several times. They told Cambodia, you can't be a neutral country and you let the North Vietnamese, constantly cross through your country. And the king of Cambodia, he didn't do anything about to stop it. He made no attempt whatsoever to stop the North Vietnamese from crossing into Cambodia. When there was a few skirmishes of American troops crossing into Cambodia, the Cambodian king constantly got pissed off and was complaining, American imperialism, that's what he would constantly say. But when the North Vietnamese were violating his country's borders, he never criticized them. He allowed them. So you can't really be a neutral country when you let another country go through your country, make a trail, and then attack another country. But that's basically what I'll say about that. Is when you look at Nixon's perspective, Nixon was right to kind of invade Cambodia, because the North Vietnamese were using Cambodia to basically attack American troops in South Vietnam. And the Americans had tried to talk to the Cambodians several times, tell them, stop this, you got to stop letting the North Vietnamese use your country, and they wouldn't listen. And that's ultimately what Nixon did. But a lot of people say Nixon was imperialist for attacking Cambodia, but they don't understand what was going on. They don't understand that Cambodia was letting North Vietnam constantly attack American troops. And the North Vietnamese weren't just killing American troops, they were killing South Vietnamese troops, South Vietnamese civilians. So that's basically what I'll say about that. Is what about Ronald Reagan? When it comes to Reagan, I have a lot of issues with Reagan. Like the Iran-Contra affair was, terrible. It was a disaster. When he was funding cartels he was funding the Contras in Nicaragua, which were basically like cartel guys. The Contras had cartel connections. That's basically what they were. It was like a militia of drug runners. That's what they were. So he was funding them. He was selling weapons. He was selling weapons to the Iranians, which the Iranians were an American enemy. So they were selling weapons to the Iranians so that they could fund the Contras in Nicaragua, so that they would win against the Sandinistas, which were the communists. So it was just stupid. Also, I have also other issues with Reagan. The other reason I don't like Reagan is because Reagan had supported banning assault weapons. Like he was a pretty big gun control guy. Like a lot of people don't like that. I don't like that typically. I think the government should personally mind their own business. I don't think they have the right to tell people if they could own guns or not. But Reagan was a big gun control guy, which I didn't like that personally about him too. So it was a few. Reagan did lower taxes, which I guess helped the economy, and he does deserve credit for helping to end the Cold War. He did help bankrupt the Soviet Union. One of the reasons the Soviet Union was bankrupt was because of Reagan. But Reagan also had a lot of his own faults too. That's what I'll say about him. Yeah, he did, Gazala. You're right on that. Well, yeah, people don't know that about Reagan. They don't know that he was a big gun control guy. If you look at his policies, his views, he was. What about Jimmy Carter? Jimmy Carter, a lot of people say that Jimmy Carter was a disaster of a president. But do you know what I'll say about what Jimmy Carter's greatest accomplishment is that people don't really give him credit for? Is that under Jimmy Carter, we really didn't get involved in any stupid wars. There was no stupid wars. There was no intervention. We didn't get involved in other countries' affairs. So that's where I'll give Jimmy Carter some credit for, is that people give him crap, but for the most part, he stayed out of other countries' business, and that's what I'll say about him. I remember in Black Ops, Bowman called Viet Cong Victor Charlie. Yeah, that's what they were referred to as Charlie. Tom Holland just got severely injured on set. Tom Holland, the guy who plays a Spider-Man? What happened? Thank you, Zombie Fanatic, for the super chat. Bakken, thank you. Pro, there's a song out there by a Canadian country singer, Cora Bloom, that is about the Contra affair under Reagan's administration. It's called Student Visas, and it's a really chilling song, to be honest. You should give it a listen. I'll look into it. I will. When was the song written? Was it written right around that same time, Bakken? He got a concussion? What happened? Oh, 2013 is when the song was. Okay. Oh, sorry. Did Lincoln do anything bad? Well, the thing that Lincoln is criticized the most is that he suspended habeas corpus. Okay, let's get back to the hangar here. Was Ulysses S. Grant a good president? The thing about Ulysses S. Grant is he was a great general during the Civil War, and the thing about Ulysses S. Grant is Ulysses S. Grant was generally like a good person. Like, he was an honorable person. He was not a bad person. And the thing is, Ulysses S. Grant wasn't really a racist person. Where, you know, back then almost everyone was racist, and so the fact that he really wasn't a racist person back then, it shows he was a pretty honorable guy. But about Grant is a lot of times attacked for there's a few corruption scandals that happened in his administration. But the thing about that is I wouldn't really say that that's Grant's fault. It was more of the people that he associated himself with. Grant associated himself with some bad people that took advantage of him, so I wouldn't really blame him for that personally. Would you say Jackson is the worst president of all? I mean, Andrew Jackson? No. Andrew Jackson did do some messed up things. Like, the worst thing that he did was the Trail of Tears. But Jackson's greatest accomplishment was that he completely paid off the national debt. So I know that he did bad things too, but I can't say that he was the worst president of all time because he paid off the national debt. He is the only president ever to pay off the national debt. A lot of people don't know that. So he was the only president ever in American history to pay off the national debt. And that is an accomplishment, a massive accomplishment, being able to do that. Thank you, no problem, Nikki. What about Andrew Johnson? Disaster, stupid president, stupid president. Moron, complete moron. Lincoln made a mistake appointing him as his vice president. Also, the thing about Johnson is Johnson was a very hardline Southerner. The only difference is he didn't support secession. That was the only thing. He didn't support breaking away from the Union, but he was a very hardline Southerner. He was a massive racist. And Lincoln had made him vice president because he was hoping that by making him vice president, he would kind of bridge that gap and he would help to unite the Southern states. That if they had a Southern vice president, it would help with the Southern states, like it would help reunite them. That's why he made Johnson his vice president. But then what nobody expected is nobody expected that Lincoln would get assassinated, and then Johnson would take power, and then it was a massive disaster. What about Bill Clinton? Well, Bill Clinton is going more into that modern, sense. But there was the Monica Lewinsky affair, which that happened in the, when that, the thing about that is, when Black Ops 6 was coming out, I kept telling people that the story in Black Ops 6 is that what Adler discovered is Adler found out about the Monica Lewinsky affair, and that's why Bill Clinton tried to have him killed. And when I told people that, people believed me, and they thought that was what the story was going to be in Black Ops 6, that Adler finds out about the Lewinsky affair, and and Clinton tried to have him killed for that. But no, I made that up. That wasn't. That was a joke that I was just spreading around. Well, thank you, Isaiah, for the super chat. When do you want to do my heist? And I did like Metro. Okay, we can do your heist in a little bit, Brandon. I have to, I still have to complete those police missions. Wait, Big Country, what are you selling still? Are you still selling something? What are you selling? You have a heist. I'll also help you, Raccoon. I'll help both Brandon and Raccoon. Hold on. Manage vehicles. Get this here. Name any comedian actors. Comedian actors. Can't really think of anyone at the top of my head. I can name more wrestler actors than comedian actors. The Rock, John Cena, I know are actors also, but, yeah.
With the police force this dirty, there's always work to do. Copy. Stand by for coordinates. Okay,
The best president of the 20th century, Teddy Roosevelt.
101. What do you do when your company's failing and you need to bail out?
What about William Henry Harrison? Isn't William Henry Harrison the president who refused to annex Hawaii? Wasn't that him? I think there was I think that was him, wasn't it? Him? Wasn't William Henry Harrison the guy who he cleaned up the government of corruption, right? There was like one president I remember, one president where he really got rid of a lot of the corrupt people in government. Like he completely cleaned up corruption. Was it Harrison? I think it might have been Harrison, but oh, that was the guy who died in 3 months. You're related to him? You're related to Henry Harrison, huh? Are you also related to Rick Harrison? Because Rick in Pawn Stars claims to be that he's related to William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison was president for 30 days. His grandson is the one you're thinking of, Benjamin Harrison. Okay, I'm sorry. My mistake there. I made one mistake. I make mistakes with history, too. I'm not perfect. Damn. Do I think the memes about Pawn Stars lowballing people is true? Yes. No, I know you weren't, Zach. No, I'm not saying you were calling me out. It's okay. I'm just saying I make mistakes too. But about the lowballs, yes. A lot of times they do lowball. I was watching a video. I was watching a video of this, what was it? This guy who was selling this race car to Rick on Pawn Stars. And the guy that was selling the race car, right? When Rick's friend, the guy who always wears the biker cut, I forget his name, the mechanic guy, with the bandana, he came by to look at the car, and he told Rick that the engine alone is worth 40 grand. And if you add up everything together, the car's worth more than 70 grand. And when Rick asked the guy what he wants for the car, the guy said he wants 42. So remember, the engine in the car alone is worth 40 grand. The car altogether, everything will be worth more than 70 grand. And so the guy said, I want 42. And yes, Rick has to make money, he's a businessman. But Rick was lowballing him, at 30 grand for that. And then Rick eventually got the guy down to, I think, 35 grand, which, no. So, basically what I'll say about that is, do I think that Rick is a scumbag? I wouldn't necessarily say he's a scumbag, but I think that he can be, I think he can really lowball at times, like really badly. It's not nice. That's what I'll say about it. And look, I understand it. You know, you're a business. You're trying to make money. I get that, but there's a point. It's not to the point where you're taking advantage of people. You know, it's at the point where it's like, and I guess at the end of the day, it's the guy's fault because the guy did sell the car, so like he didn't have to sell to Rick. So at the end of the day, the people that get lowballed really badly and sell, it is their fault at the end of the day because they sold it. You know, they should have just stuck to their guns and not sold it. But I will tell you, you know who the least greediest people that I've seen that buy stuff are? The least greediest people, I even forget what their names are. Somebody's gonna probably know the name of the guys. But I used to watch American Pickers. They're not really on TV anymore, but when I was a kid, I used to watch American Pickers, and it was these two guys in a van that would basically just drive around to like different states, and they would buy stuff like from people. So like a lot of times from people's garages, like people had like old stuff that they would buy like from the 50s and stuff in their garages. And what would happen is the two guys on that show, a lot of times the old people, when they were buying stuff from the old people didn't even know the true value of the item. And so when the old people wanted a lot less, like they would always tell them like, no, I'm not, I'm gonna give you more because it's it's worth a lot more than that. So it was that what were the two guys on American Pickers? What was their name? Because they were like the least cheap people that I've seen on the History Channel. They always gave people fair offers. But yeah, I agree. Rick. I think the thing about Rick is a very strange person, because Mike was one guy, I forget the other guy's name, but Rick is a really strange guy on TV. And the reason that Rick is a really strange guy is because at times you love Rick, but at times you hate Rick. So like that's what I'll say about Rick, is that sometimes he's like, you watch Pawn Stars and you like him, he's a cool guy, but other times he really like lowballs people, you really dislike him at the same time too. So he's a weird person because people have a love-hate relationship with him. Mike and Frank, yes, that's where they're. Mike and Frank were like some of the most honest people ever. Like they were not I think that Mike and Frank actually had a falling out. I think they had some kind of argument, and I think that's why they don't do TV anymore. But I do remember that, whenever they bought stuff from, like, old people, they would always give them, like, fair offers. It was always fair offers. They never really scammed people. I'll do a lore video on the Red Dead characters in the future when I get to, when I play Red Dead Redemption 2 again in the future. Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, yep. A lot of comedians. Do I know that Frank passed away? No, I didn't know that, no. That's the first time I'm hearing about it now. No, I didn't know. Would you say France is America's oldest ally? Yes. France is America's first ally. Also, another one of America's allies that that a lot of people don't know is, I would say, it was the Crows. The Crows were a Native American tribe. They were one of America's oldest allies. Yeah, but the thing about the Saint Nazaire raid, though, Gunner, is that the Saint Nazaire raid accomplished its mission. It made the dock inoperable for the rest of the war. So for the rest of the war, the Nazis couldn't really use the U-boat dock there anymore. It was completely destroyed. And about the Saint Nazaire raid, when you see in yeah, the Crows, they're a Native American tribe, about the Saint Nazaire raid, when you play Medal of Honor European Assault, when they rammed that ship into the dock, that actually happened. So a lot of people think that that's for the game, but that actually happened. They were getting shot at, and they actually rammed the ship right into the dock, like you see in Medal of Honor European Assault. And the crazy thing about it, that ship was armed with explosives. It was armed on a timer, and there was a lot of bombs on that ship, a lot. Like, when that's gonna explode, it's gonna be a huge explosion. Now, what happened is, when the British commandos got captured, a lot of them were forced onto the ship. Like, so the Germans forced them onto the ship, and were forcing them to basically, like, show where all their weapons were and all their stuff. And the British commandos that were taken on that ship knew that the ship had a timer. They knew that the ship was going to blow up, and they were going to die. And not one of them told the Germans that there was a bomb on the ship. And so that is the ultimate sacrifice when you think about it, knowing that you're going to die. And you could prevent it. You could prevent yourself from dying by betraying your country and saying that there's a bomb on the ship. But they didn't. They didn't betray their country, and they died. The bomb went off, and everybody on the ship died, the Germans and all the British. So they didn't tell the German soldiers about the bombs on the ship. And so that is just crazy. Like, imagine that, being captured, being taken on the ship. You know that the ship is going to explode. You know there's a bomb. The Germans don't know it, and you could tell them that there's a bomb on the ship, but you don't. And so, everybody died. And Hitler was so angry about that he issued the commando order, where the commando order was that if any commandos are captured, they're going to be executed immediately. It does make sense why none of the British commandos told the Germans that there was bombs on the ship. The reason that none of them said is because people that are in the special forces are the most hardened soldiers ever, and that's what commandos were. Commandos were special forces. They are the most hardened soldiers ever, and special forces soldiers are the most patriotic and the most loyal towards their countries. They love their countries the most. So the special forces are extremely patriotic people, and that is why they didn't say it. So they gave their lives for their country. Where were the Crows based? The Crows are originally from the Dakotas, but they live in the Montana today mostly. GTA 6 trailer 3 before 2025 ends. If we're gonna get another trailer, it'll probably be around Christmas time when we get another trailer. The Crows were a Native American tribe that had gotten attacked by the Sioux. The Sioux had attacked the Crows, and the Crows allied with the U.S. against the Sioux. Don't forget, people will super chat spoilers on your stream when GTA 6 comes out. Oh, I'm fully aware of that. I know that that's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Just gonna have to deal with it. I got no choice. Did America and France have a conflict during the Quasi-War? Well, the Quasi-War was an undeclared war. Neither France nor America declared war on each other, but when they saw each other's ships, they fired on each other. What the Quasi-War basically was, it was after France had their revolution, and France was getting invaded by a bunch of countries. France was getting invaded by the Prussians, the British, the Austrians, and the French had asked the Americans for help, and the U.S. government's position was that we're a neutral country, we're a new country, we don't have the resources to send people overseas and help you. And the French basically got pissed off at us and started attacking our ships over that. They said that we were ungrateful and that we didn't help them when they helped us. And to an extent, I understand the French perspective. I understand why they were pissed that we didn't help them. But at the same time, we were a new country, so we couldn't really do anything. How will you do GTA 6 outfits on your first playthrough? What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to model my outfits on what Jason wears. So whatever Jason is wearing, I'm probably just going to, try to model it on that. Yeah, I mean, Hernandez was the least worst police officer in Crash. Thank you, Feline King, for the super chat. I know I watched your Saints Row reboot review yesterday. I know I'm super late to the party. Do you still stand by saying Saints Row 2 is the best gangster game, or does Mafia the Old Country surpass it now? No, I still stand by what I said. I think that Mafia the Old Country is the best Mafia game in the series. I just like the story and the combat, so I think Mafia the Old Country is the best Mafia game, but I don't think it's the best gangster game. The best gangster game, I think, is Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2, I think, is the best one. Montana Assassin Wolf. Angry Joe said it's boring. Sometimes Angry Joe's a genius when it comes to his reviews, but sometimes he has no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, Saints Row is dead. It's over. Have you ever played the Gears of War trilogy? No. I played Gears of War 2 when I was a kid. I know that the Gears of War remake came out on the PlayStation Store. I gotta try it when I get the chance. Raccoon, can you invite me to your heist? Brandon, I'm gonna help Raccoon first with his heist because I promised Raccoon last week that I would help him. So I'm gonna help Raccoon first, and I'm gonna help you right after, okay? Do you know why Shandi didn't want to do the Sons of Samdi? Oh, because she had experience with them. She knew how, ruthless and bad they were. I gotta do a playthrough of the first one, though, Boombox Guru. Who's gonna win, Cobra Unit or Cringe Row? Cobra Unit. Yeah, Cobra Unit, 100%. Are you gonna replay Sleeping Dogs? Not for many years. I played it, like, was it 2 years ago? So it's gonna be a few more years until I'll replay it one day. But it's gonna be a few more years until I replay it. I don't like playing games so soon after I beat them. So it's, I'll replay it again in a few years.
Holy macaroni!
Oh yeah, we're gonna do Liberty City Stories this next month coming up. It's gonna be fun. Do you think that Tino is the worst consigliere in any media you've seen about the Mafia? Yes. He is probably the worst consigliere, the worst Mafia consigliere I've ever seen in a movie or a game. Well, you'd have to have me added. Do you have me added, Alexander? I will play the new 007 game. Hi, GB. Yeah, and the thing is, consiglieres are supposed to be, they're supposed to be the most calm. They are supposed to be the most calm in a mafia organization. They are literally supposed to be the most calm.
That's a
400 viewers right now. Thank you guys. Do you think Torrisi wouldn't be the way he was if he had a better consigliere? No. I think that's ultimately on Torrisi. Torrisi is the person he is because of himself. What do I think about the Belgian Congo, and how do I join you? You'd have to have me added. Do I have you added, Alexander? About the Belgian Congo, what I'll say about it is that Belgium is has one of the most evil histories of a country ever. Like, when people look at a country like Belgium today, like, small country like Belgium, they can't imagine that a country like Belgium would just do such evil, cruel things, but it did. It was such a brutal country in the past. Belgium, when they occupied the Congo, that was their colony, the Belgians had worked millions of slaves to death. So between 1 million to 2 million people were murdered in the Congo by the Belgians. The Belgians were just so brutal and just so cruel to people. And the Belgians were so cruel that if a slave was not working fast enough, they would cut their hands off. And that's why you had thousands of people in the Congo that had no hands. You have pictures of that online that you can look up. It's disgusting. A lot of people that have no hands because the Belgians did that. It was extremely brutal. It was King Leopold that did that. King Leopold has got to be probably the most evil monarch in European history. Probably the most evil king in Europe's history is King Leopold. That guy is literally like just complete evil, horrible monster. And even if you look at a picture of Leopold, he even looks evil just from his picture. He looks typically how you would think an evil king looks like. Are capos responsible for paying their soldiers? Yes. Oh, I gotta leave this.
With the police force this dirty, there's always work to do. Copy that. You should have
I should be in the. I'm gonna unlock the outfit now, right? Because it's my 3rd dispatch work.
Okay, this one is, I hope, uncomplicated. The LSPD
Oh, I know, Tony Montana.
this incriminating footage, hush, hush. Must be something bad to have them so concerned. Fine. Collateral on these assholes at the station is something of a comfort.
Where's the heist? I'm gonna help in a moment here. I'm gonna help in just one moment. Raccoon, give me just one moment. This is just my third mission. I'm just gonna run through this really quick, get the outfit, and I'm gonna join you. Get in the heist lobby and just get ready to invite me, and I'm gonna join you. Wait, what? Snowy Imp? My favorite cereal? Probably Cheerios, but I will say though is that I eat the Cheerios protein cereal. That's what I eat, Cheerios protein. But I don't know if that's really unhealthy or not. I don't know. I know cereal is some of the most unhealthy foods that you can eat. I should avoid eating cereal a lot. But yeah. Break into the hideout. Oh crap.
Keep me covered.
I like how I can't even shoot through the door. Okay. I was talking to menacing about whether or not Saul Goodman served as a consigliere to Walter White. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you can really apply the mafia, Italian mafia ranks to that situation too. You know what I gotta say is, you know what my favorite fictional mafia probably is? My favorite fictional mafia is probably, I would say, probably the Manfredi crime family is probably my favorite fictional mafia. And that's from Tulsa King. I did watch both seasons of Tulsa King, so I had some time and I binge watched that. And that was a really good Mafia show, a really really good one. But I would say yeah, Manfredi Crime Family is probably my favorite fictional Mafia. Damn, these guys are... Oh, crap. Damn right. Tulsa King is getting a 3rd season. Not only is it getting a 3rd season, it's getting a 4th season. It already got approved for a 4th season, even though the 3rd season hasn't even been released. Bro, what does anti-griefing mean? It means you don't tolerate people being toxic to other people. A griefer is basically somebody who... A griefer is somebody who does, you know, what the name is grief. They want to cause misery for another player. Now, there's a difference between, like, you know, fighting other players in games and being a griefer. It's very, very different. A griefer is somebody who's purposely just trying to piss off people. Is just somebody who's just purposely trying to ruin somebody's time. That's basically what a griefer is. When was the first time you got griefed? I would say the first time that I got griefed is probably in 2016. And the reason is because what happened before that, like in 2013, up until 2016, I didn't really count it as griefing. And the reason I didn't count it as griefing is because back then there wasn't really anything to do. There wasn't like businesses and stuff like that. And so if somebody just killed you in a lobby, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's griefing. But the griefing came up when the cargo started becoming a thing in 2016, when like people started selling cargo, and then like people would just destroy millions of dollars worth of cargo in just a few seconds, is doing stupid crap. I would say that's the point when like the griefers just you know, that just got ridiculous at that point. Okay, invite me now, Raccoon. I'll help you. Thank you for waiting. I need to complete 3 missions, right? 3 missions, Vincent missions, and I get the new outfit. What was that? Can I add you? I can try to add you, yeah. And I think Alex, too, Let's do it, Raccoon. Target is artwork. Okay. Yeah, do sewers. I'm ready. I only used AI once for a thumbnail, only once. It was when I was talking about nasty managers in retail, because I didn't want to use just some random person's, you know, picture on Google. So I basically just asked AI to make me like a really, like, you know, rude, nasty manager in retail, and it made a picture of that, and I just used that in the Are you a GTA Plus member? No, I will never get GTA Plus. When did GTA Online reach its prime? I would say 2020 with like Cayo Perico, and then at that point it was over. Maybe 2019 with Casino Heist, but then after that it was just a decline. Hello, Patrick. It's your boss. I need you to come into work today. No, not that again. Thank you, Bakken, for the super chat. so happy I don't work in retail anymore. By the way, guys, and let me just mute Lester here because he's getting annoying. Guys, I was thinking about when I'm gonna make another channel update video this before this month ends, and I was thinking about doing another channel update video where I basically like just read your comments, reacting to your crazy like retail stories or like customer service stories. Do you guys want me to do another video like that? I don't want it to seem like I'm milking it, so if you guys want me to do another video like that, I'll do it. I'll mute the game here now. Okay. I did 3 dispatch work, but I didn't get the outfit. You get it automatically. You don't have to buy it at the store, right? I enjoy your channel update videos. Thank you. Okay.
The wall is only a few inches thick at that point. Plant the explosive and let her rip.
The retail stories are fun. Okay, then we'll do another one. I'll make a post probably later tonight or tomorrow asking you guys. So when you see my post, make sure to, if you want your story to be read, just leave a comment because I'm gonna choose random comments and I could include your story in the video. Oh no. You know what I find crazy? Sometimes you'll see the NPCs like crouch while shooting, but yet you can't do that in the game. I hope that GTA 6 has an option to crouch or go prone. I really hope they add that. Swipe. Don't jump through here, Raccoon. Sometimes there's a glitch. Can I join your crew? We don't really use the crews anymore.
Looks like the guard at the vault room isn't there. Happy days.
We just basically play in a lobby, so if you want, I can add you as a friend, if you want me, and you can play with me that way, but we don't really use the crews anymore. Maybe when GTA 6 comes out, we'll make, like, a new crew and, you know, come back to that. Have I seen Agent Orange Victims? I did, and I talked about it in my Black Ops 1 playthrough. I talked about it.
Both sides of the door. Let's only do this once. Okay, now it's a big door, so don't be stingy with the explosives. And get clear before you push the button. Everyone clear?
I'm getting everything on the left side, Raccoon. Get everything on the right. At what point was Tony's relationship with Christopher beyond repair, when Christopher wouldn't stop doing drugs?
It's worth more than its weight in gold. Cut it out of the frame and pack it up. I'll keep you updated on the gas, or more precisely, the excruciating and irreversible nerve agent. There's only so long our hacking team can delay it. And trust me, when that timer runs out, you're gonna want to be long gone. There's a set of lockboxes in here. Drill them if you've got the time, but I can't promise you there'll be anything good inside.
Who was the person asking me about crews was armed and dangerous, right? Do you have a PSN? Pro, do you know that the, what was it, Communist Party loyalties in Vietnam are some of the most, ultra-nationalistic people you ever met? The remarks about Laos and Cambodia are quite disturbing. What do they say? Well, that's the thing about communists is, communists don't even respect other communists. Communists will actually look down on other communists a lot of times. They always think, oh, you know, my version of communism is better than your version of communism. You know, communist countries have fought each other in wars before.
There's still some rich pickings in there.
There we go. Get it, Raccoon.
20 seconds left. Don't dawdle. Gas incoming. 10 seconds. That's it. Get the hell out.
Most expensive DLC is definitely Arena Wars. Yep. Hey Pro, happy Sunday. Thanks for the help the other day. No problem, Pizza Zombie. Glad I can help you out, dude. I hope you're good.
Looking good. Get all that across the finish line and
Was Mongolia a former communist state? Yes, it was.
you'll need to sync your keycard swipes on the way out.
You know the really weird thing about communist Mongolia? The really weird thing about communist Mongolia is that Mongolia wanted the Soviet Union to actually annex them. That's what a lot of people don't know that. So they wanted the Soviet Union to annex them, but the reason that the Soviet Union wouldn't annex them is because they didn't want to have a larger border with China, because anything they wanted from Mongolia, Mongolia basically gave them, and they didn't want to have more of a bigger border with China. So that's why the Soviets didn't want to annex Mongolia, even though Mongolia wanted it.
Made it to the top of the shaft. We're not out of the woods yet.
You looking for some? Right here. This is gonna be a pleasure, asshole. I'm gonna get you, little piggy. Piece of shit. I'm gonna shut down.
You know what they say? In the event of emergency, leave all valuables behind and do not use the elevators. Oh well.
But isn't that
Got some heavy chatter on the police frequencies. Sounds like they're sending news.
isn't that though imperialist? That is pretty much imperialist, Gunner, and that's the thing about the go get the money, Raccoon. Get some extra money for yourself there. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna clear out this hallway.
Oh, stretch. I feel so alive. I didn't even think my exit was clearing up.
Close in.
You know, that's the hypocritical thing about communists, is communists will constantly call everybody an imperialist, but when they attack other countries, that's not imperialist according to them.
You looking for trouble, a-hole?
They might be covering the side exits by now. Stay alert for noose.
Roof. What the? It doesn't work, does it? What? What the hell? Does this even... Will the staircase even work?
Get in there, y'all. I'll see you in hell. Cover me.
Come on. Oh, crap.
Tell your mama I said hi. Prove yourself somehow.
Damn, this sucks. Okay.
Gonna need some cover, fellers.
Raccoon, come on over here. Saints Row 2 weapons sound so much better than GTA 5 guns. Yeah, and GTA 4 weapons also sound way better than GTA 5 guns. Like, you remember how the AK-47 sounded in GTA 4? Like, that was my favorite gun sound, was the AK-47. It was such a cool sound. Didn't the Mongolian Empire have the first capitalist system in the world? Yeah, the Mongolians invented capitalism. They did. The Mongolian Empire was really the first capitalist empire in history when you think about it. The Mongolians understood how to make money. They were very smart when it came to how to make money. Look up Chinese woman trapped under escalator path. What? Where did this happen? That sounds horrible. Thank you, Trapper, for the super chat. What happened? Thoughts on Xbox increasing its price? What, the console itself or the online? The console, well, it's the first time I'm hearing about it. Oh, that sucks, is that consumers are gonna be pissed. What the hell was that? Damn, die. This is one thing I hate about the NPCs in GTA Online. Ridiculous. Look at this. This is BS, okay. They can take this much damage. That's horrible. That's horrible. Somebody getting killed by an escalator, that's I don't even want to think about that. That's just horrible. I did hear about that, Angelo.
You have a clean car all lined up. Just don't let them see you switch.
Brandon, get your heist ready, because I'm gonna help you with your heist right after this. Okay.
Wow, we really kicked the hornet's nest. It's amazing how fast the police response time is when the guy calling 911 is a billionaire. Or should I say, ex-billionaire after his next insurance premium comes through.
Damn.
Economic justice is a beautiful thing. Just got word from the
Yeah, I will agree with you. The only good late night show is Conan. Yeah, Kimmel was a pretty toxic person. Conan I always thought was a nice guy. He was a nice guy at heart, and you know, whenever I watched Jimmy Kimmel, I always felt he was a narcissist. Come on, no, no, no. Okay, we're gonna have to do this the hard way then. The Jeddah Tower in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia will be the first 1 kilometer skyscraper in the world, I think, when it's finished. Huh. That is crazy. How tall is the Burj Khalifa right now, that building? Oh, Ellen was the most toxic late night host. The thing about Ellen is if you looked up the horrible things that Ellen did to her staff, like, she really treated her staff like crap. Like, she abused her staff, she treated her staff really badly. "828 meters tall." Wait, so this is gonna be the tallest building in the world now then. Conan is the only late night show host that I could watch. Yep. No problem, Raccoon. That's crazy, though. Hamzat, yeah, that's crazy. A tower that tall. Well, you'd have to have me added to play with me on GTA. I did watch Dr. Phil a lot back in the day, but I don't know if you count Dr. Phil as being a late night host, but I did watch him a bit. So what's your PSN? I played Getaway Black Monday. That one I played. And Gangs of London, doesn't Gangs of London, the game, take place in the same universe as that, as Getaway? Pro, do you know Pendlebury has Crash Badge and Smoke mentioned Pendlebury to CJ in the remove part of the mission running dog? When you have to drive Smoke back with the drugs. No, I didn't know that. There's a lot of stuff that was cut. Have I been to Chicago a few times? Yes, I've been to Chicago. What do you want to know about it? Okay, Brandon, invite me. Let me help Brandon with his heist here. Oh, Armed and Dangerous. I got your message though. I'll add you later. I'm good, Connor. How are you, dude? Artwork? Okay, yeah, we can do this. Let's do it. We might actually even be able to get Elite Challenge on this one, yeah. Staff lobby, exit, yeah, let's do it. No, I had my old name as like Gaming Emperor, it was kind of cheesy, and I wanted to change it to something else, and... Okay. Brandon, could you drive on this one? Or I'll drive then, okay.
They're expecting these chips today, so get over there in the group section.
And,
Unless you're total idiots.
I'm gonna have the next part of, Mafia 2 tonight for you guys.
It's like your kids putting on their uniforms for their first day at school. Only I don't have kids. Just some pretty basic AI experiments that swear at me in Russian and want to destroy the world. You know, we all love in our own ways. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Let's rob this thing.
No, I didn't bother Phoenix. Did you see my comment? What's your, it sucks how GTA Online doesn't have a true competitor after 12 years and no other game has put an effort to try to match its quality, maybe except Watch Dogs Legion. Watch Dogs Legion did try, and I think it could have been a competitor. It would have never overtaken GTA, but it could have been a competitor, and they gave up on it. They just abandoned the game. They just literally gave up on it. Like, Watch Dogs Legion could have been a competitor to GTA. Like, you had your own characters in that game. I don't know why they just abandoned it. It was stupid.
The tunnel entrance is under the bridge. Don't forget, you are private security, like a cop who couldn't pass the fitness test or the psych eval.
Will I play Ghost of Yotei? Yeah, probably. I want to play a new open world game, so I probably will play it. Yeah. In Ghost of Yotei, she plays as like a Ronin. She's like a criminal. So I think I'll like it. It is a crime game technically. You're like an outlaw.
Now play it cool. You're doing your usual day-to-day delivery job. You've done this 1,000 times.
You're earlier than expected. This gonna check your VI number? Chip delivery, huh? Sure. Go straight through and leave her on the left. You can take the elevator or stairs down to the vault.
I thought you were gonna get shot in the face for a second there. Okay. Now get in the elevator and remember, inconspicuous.
Well, Saudi Arabia has been actively involved in the Yemen war for a long time. They've also been involved in the Syrian civil war, so they were involved in both conflicts.
Next security check's coming up. You can do this. You keep her cool.
Howdy. You looking for the vault? Right up ahead. Y'all here for the vault?
Okay, swipe, Brandon.
Alright, you're gonna need your key cards to get into the man trap there. 2-card system. Swipe at the same time.
Yes! Come on! How much better does it feel when the marks are this dumb? Okay, so far so bueno. Push on to the vault. There'll be a guard there to meet you. Don't break character just yet.
Oh,
Brandon, skip this cutscene, please.
Why didn't they say something?
Thank you.
Hey, that art
Okay.
looks expensive to me. Let's give it a new home.
I want Patrick, the professional, to monopolize GTA content. What do you mean monopolize?
Have a little more time here. Now, your hacker can block the security sensors while you're in the vault.
The heist is always glitchy for me in the tunnel. There's a glitch where you get stuck permanently in the tunnel. I know that
Did I mention?
one way to avoid that is to don't jump in the tunnel. Don't jump in there.
No? Okay, well, I'm
Has the heist is always glitchy for me in the tunnel? Well, the tunnel glitches didn't really start happening until recently. Like I don't remember that happening until like this year. Like it's I've never really seen it beforehand. So I think because of all these updates Rockstar added, I think something must have messed it up. Did the tunnel glitch happen in like 2019, guys? Does anybody know? Because I don't remember it happening in 2019 where you get stuck in the man trap. I only remember it happening recently. Like there's been so many heists I've done in the past and it's never happened. It's only started happening recently. I think one of the newer updates must have messed something up. I'll ask later. What's your question, Ian? Well, Sudan used to be one country. Sudan was a dictatorship. And it used to be one country, and then South Sudan broke away. Yeah, so I was right then. This man trap glitch only started happening recently. It happened once in 2022. So yeah, but I don't remember it ever happening in 2019. So something must have triggered it. How did Mongolia become a communist state? They had rebels, and they were fighting on the Japanese were trying to conquer Mongolia, and the Soviets fought against them. So a lot of people don't know that the Soviet Union and the Imperial Japan actually had a war in Mongolia. It was in the late 1930s. I think it was 1938 when it happened.
40 seconds. 30 seconds.
I'm drilling one box.
20 seconds left. Don't
Okay.
dawdle.
Let's get out of here.
Perfect. Now get out before they smell a rat. Gas incoming. 10 seconds. In and out undetected.
I like the mask. Thank you.
Who would have thought it?
Swipe.
People, that is the mother load. We cleaned them out.
Oh, what am I doing? I shouldn't even be jumping in here. That could trigger the glitch. Oh, God, I hope I didn't just ruin it. Okay, good. I don't think I triggered the glitch. Because when you see the objective pop up on your screen, it's usually means everything's okay.
All right, now stay calm. Back the way you came, through the checkpoint. Nothing to see here.
Y'all done in here? Hey, listen, that fella on the vault door, how'd he look?
Brandon, swipe the elevator.
Get in the cargo elevator.
Oh,
Use your
I got it.
key card.
Okay.
Play it cool. Back the way we came is too risky now that you're carrying the loot. Let's fall back to the rear door.
Okay, we can maybe get elite challenge. We just gotta.
I need you to stay calm. They've seen what you did to the vault, and now the whole place is locking down fast. They know you're still in the building. Just keep moving and keep quiet.
Okay, not through there. Get back, Brendan.
Closing in on us. We need to pick up the pace. Security is sweeping the whole building. Stay one step ahead, or this whole thing goes south.
Oh crap, Brandon, go. I wonder if we're gonna be detected outside or not. Let's see. It doesn't matter, we're still doing really good. We're doing really good. If you're detected, the police out here start shooting at you, so no, I don't think we're detected.
Know the vault's been hit, but they don't know who you are or where you are. They have patrols sweeping the whole place, and all the civilians have been evacuated. So if they see you, they'll know it's you. So just stay out of their way, keep your cool, and get to the buyer. The driver has the getaway car in position. I've pinged you the GPS. Get to the buyer, don't bring the cops, and we're home free.
Oh,
Crap. Okay, move. Go, 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 Brandon. Oh, crap. Yellow car. Get yellow car.
Alright, our decoy is online. The cops are confused as hell. Don't get seen near him, or the cops will figure out what we're doing. I've pinged your GPS with this tracker. Your driver left a clean car for you. Pinging your GPS now. Don't let him see you make the switch. As long as you don't do anything stupid, you can drive right past the cops and they won't know a thing.
Yellow car. Yeah, that Nico says that.
Just got word from the decoy. We don't have long before they have to tap out. Make the most of it.
Okay, yeah, I know, Brandon. I'm probably not gonna go for the clean car, and the reason is because it's so far from the... It's not, like, along the route.
Alright, the decoy is out. You're on your own now.
Okay, here we go.
If the buyer hears so much as a siren, this whole thing goes up in smoke. Lose the cops. I knew this would be sweet. Liberating large amounts of private equity from
Brandon, also, and Raccoon, don't use these cars in the future, because this car, it just doesn't handle as good as the Sentinel. The Sentinel is the one-star car that you always want to use.
crown jewels right under their noses. The ultimate humiliation.
This car is pretty bad at spinning out.
A whole lot of scores, but none of them has been sweeter than this.
No, don't apologize, Raccoon. It's fine. I'm just saying that this car isn't necessarily the best car to use. The best, cheapest car to use is the Sentinels. Okay, 5. Here. This car looks like Pikachu. Maybe in a way, I guess, yeah. I don't think we're gonna get Elite Challenge because the buyer is just so far, but I can try. Well, the reason I don't take the helicopter is because I think it's boring. I think it's more fun to try to escape by car. People just use the helicopter so much that it's the point where it gets boring with it. Why does Rockstar have issues with its actors? A lot of times it's because Rockstar treats their actors like crap. That's a lot of times the main reason. Okay, Brandon. Yeah, I did make guides on the casino. Check my money guides playlist. There's guides there on how to do the casino. Oh, crap. Do I have a video on best casino heist? Yes, the best casino heist approach is the one we did, Big Con. Big Con with the armored trucks. You don't really need the key cards for this, and you don't really need the outfits either. I don't know, we're gonna see if we got Elite Challenge or not. We'll see right now. What do you think about the Mad Max movies? I've never seen them. I have the game, because I had it on PlayStation Plus, but I never really played it, but... Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Liberty City Stories will do a fun playthrough. Oh. Oh. Wow, look at that. And people say that it's impossible to get Elite Challenge without the helicopter. We had the farthest drop, and we did it. Yeah, we did it. Look at that, Brandon. We did it. Elite Challenge. Okay, guys. I'm probably gonna go here because I haven't had dinner yet, and I'm really hungry. I'll answer a few questions before I go. So if you guys want to ask me anything before I go, I'll answer your questions. I'm actually going to have the next part of Joe's Adventures up in like 15 minutes. So like 15 minutes from now, the next part will be up. It's just uploading right now. Do you think Rockstar is going to add GTA 4 Remaster this year? If we don't get a GTA 4 Remaster by Christmas this year, by the holidays, it's not coming out. So it's either going to come out by the holidays this year. If not, it's not coming out. They're not going to release it so close to GTA 6 next year. Did I sometimes take Catalina down? I killed Catalina a lot of times when I was friendly fire when I was a kid. It's when I played her San Andreas missions. Automated trading? What do you mean, like stocks? I'll see you, Zach. Is there much work in owning 2 rental properties? It depends on the type of property that you own. It depends whether your properties have issues. My properties are both new homes, so they're both built in 2012, which is still counts as a new house. So they are my properties don't really have any issues, and so sometimes I will do services for the tenants. Like I did services in the springtime. I did services where I would fertilize the grass, and I would have a guy come in, spray the grass to kill the weeds so the grass would grow green. And I had the guy come in a week ago. So a week ago he came in, did his second spraying, and I'm gonna have a guy come in to shut off the sprinklers in the first week of October. But other than that, I really don't do much in my rental properties. There's been an error joining a session. Oh no, Brandon, please tell me that you got. Please tell me that you got that counted for you. Please tell me you got paid for that. Don't tell me that heist glitched out. Brandon, can you tell me right now that the heist glitched out for you? Did you get paid for it? Oh, if it doesn't, if that glitches out, that's gonna really suck. I'm gonna be pissed. If that glitched out, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be raging if that. But about my rental properties is, both of my tenants don't cause me any issues. And occasionally, I've had things where sometimes stuff breaks. Like sometimes stuff breaks and I replace it. But for the most part, I haven't had anything break. The most expensive thing that I've had break is I've had a dishwasher break at one house, and I've had the dishwasher fixed. But other than that, I really don't have stuff break. So that's basically what I'll say about it. Is for the most part, I don't really do much for the rental properties. That's they only really call me if there's an issue, and I take care of it pretty quickly. But for the most part, no. I did for both of my rental properties. I made a new lease for both of them, and for both of them, I didn't raise their rent. So I signed 2-year contracts with both of them, and they are rent is staying the same again for 2 years. So there's no reason for me to raise the rent. I'm not greedy. So I have plenty of money. Yeah, Rockstar servers sometimes suck. Yeah, they do. Do I pay electric bills? No, they pay utilities. Let me see here. You got paid, Brandon? Okay, good. Have I ever heard of Signalis? It's a survival horror game where you play as a female humanoid android trying to find her girlfriend in the mines. It's a pretty dark game. You should try it one day. Is it a new game that came out? Well, Russia got invaded by Mongolia in the winter time. The Mongolians liked invading Russia in the winter because they could cross from the lakes when they were frozen. I would prefer one story, tactical, per comment, but I'll make the post either tonight or tomorrow. Do I grind career progress? Not really. For the most part, I don't. Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines? Well, I do like RPGs, so I might try it one day. What's your question, Menacing? Will GTA 6 be woke? No. GTA 6 is not going to be as dark as GTA 4, so, like, it's not going to be like GTA 4 dark. But I wouldn't say it's going to be woke. Like, it's not going to be like Saints Row. Like, no. That's not going to happen. Have I ever watched Peaky Blinders? No, but I know it's like a British TV show about like British gangsters. Like I think before World War One. Like that's it's like an older it's like a show that takes place like 100 years ago. But it's a new show. When am I gonna play Mafia 3? Right after Joe's Adventures is done. What's for dinner, Pro? Soup, probably. Also, the Chicago outfit mob was actually not a separate family. They were originally part of the Masseria Genovese family, but this is theorized the myth Al Capone was made in the Masseria family. Well, it used to be controlled by Big Jim Colosimo, but then Al Capone and Torrio had him killed and took over. But I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys have a great day. Read your comment. What is your comment, Sammy? Let me see here, Sammy. Can you add me, Sammy? Let me see too. Yeah, I could try to Sammy. Okay, I'll save it too. I'll add you probably later tonight or early tomorrow. Okay, so I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for watching the stream. If you guys enjoyed the stream, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.